And there we go. Should be good to go. Audio's looking
Hello,
good.
everybody.
Yep. Hey everyone.
Greetings.
Yeah, we didn't have a creator spotlight last week, but hey, we're making up for it now. Cause this
Hell
week,
yeah, we are.
in addition to having my lovely co-host on, Jake, we've got Arlock on.
Yeah, we do. Hey, buddy. Excited to have you on.
Yeah, sounds like it. So
Everybody in our community is too. You saw everybody freaking out when they realized you were in the Discord. They're like, "Oh my god, it's Areloch!"
it's still weird. It's still really weird. I'm just gonna type a whole bunch of dumb words, and then everybody suddenly really likes it. It's like, oh god, why?
You type those dumb words in a very specific order that tickle people's brains. You see.
See, that's the trick. It's the Tower of Babel action going. I just happened to pull the right book.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's how it fucking played out for me.
If it's any measure by how much people enjoy your work, we have a thing where basically at this point everybody's brain rotted enough that whenever someone gives somebody information, there's probably about a 50% chance somebody's going to reply with, "Oh, Inco Noted," and that's just how it is.
I mean, I've always said like noted, the regular version. Like I say noted a lot. It's in my vocabulary, and as soon as Inco Noted became like a thing, it's Jover.
Oh, believe me, that's one of those things where in the other Discord, it's a running joke that they've got where somebody mentioned, it's like, okay, noted, and then it's like, is that an Eco Noted reference? It's like, no, it's not. Chill, calm down.
Oh boy.
I guess you could say we've all established bonds.
Yeah.
Bazinga!
Really getting those out early, aren't you? All right. Well, since this creator spotlight is supposed to be about the person in the guest seat, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Arlock?
I honestly haven't. That obviously changed, but didn't really do like anything writing wise until this whole thing kicked off. Technically, I had done a small series on the oh god, what was it? It's been a while since I've done anything with it, but I did a sci-fi story on the one writing Reddit serials, I think it was. Sci-fi thing, I did a small story on that, and then otherwise have not done like any writing like ever really. So it's kind of weird that this took off so much, but otherwise I do coding, so it's part of the reason why I can type so bloody much. And then obviously the ongoing running joke is I'm old. So but I'm 37, which I think is a fair high delta compared to what most people in the community are, but I guess that helps because I've been around long enough that I can use it for writing. That's what I'm going to tell myself. So,
hey, you got experience under that belt. There's nothing wrong with using it.
Absolutely.
Right. And then otherwise, obviously, I play a crap ton of games. So many games.
Okay.
So,
what kind of genres are you into?
Honestly, I'll pretty much play just about anything except like sports stuff. That doesn't really do anything for me, but
Football.
yeah. I mean, used to way back in the ancient sort of days of like 16-bit, but
Ooh.
nothing recent. So otherwise, shooters, platform. Yeah, right. Oh god, a lot of those were crazy. That probably helped a lot. But otherwise, yeah, shooters, platformers, action games, RPGs, mostly pretty much all arounder.
Okay, yeah, I can fuck with that. I know.
Obviously, visual novels got recently added to the repertoire,
as one might expect. Yes.
Yeah, I think we can all associate with that in some regard.
It's always funny too, like the amount of people when I've talked to about like Snoot and Wani and shit, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've never played a visual novel before. I thought I'd hate them, but I played this and I thought that was amazing."
Yeah, it's not a genre that ever appealed to me. Not that I don't enjoy stories or anything like that, but there's just something about it that didn't really appeal, I guess. I didn't have an issue, but it never made me go out of my way to read any. The amusing exception was I had partaken in playing through Katawa Shoujo. way back in the day.
Yes.
The real OG.
So that was the thing, and then you just go a decade without playing any other visual novels, and then all of a sudden I'm in the Snoot verse, and it's like, oh god, what happened?
It all circles back to Katawa Shoujo.
It really fucking
Doesn't it,
does.
though? Yeah.
God, at this point, I need to like just do like a fucking stream of that because, like, I feel like I need to go back to the roots. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was good, so hey, why not?
It absolutely was. Oh man. Okay. Well, that's yeah. It always cycles back to Katawa on these fucking things.
It really does. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure just about every single guest we've had, whenever we start talking about the VNs and like for Snoot and Wani and everything, someone at least brings up the Katawa. I don't know if it's always the guest or if sometimes it's me, but without a fucking doubt, it just shows up. So
it's the progenitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Settles in the brain rot, makes you susceptible to ending up in this community sphere.
Yeah, obviously. Well, it's pretty interesting that this is like your first major foray into writing then, and that it popped off so hard.
Yeah,
well,
for real.
Part of the reason why this is so surreal for me. Yeah. So.
Hey, you know what? Hidden talents, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I guess we can talk a bit about Snoot and Wani then. How did you come across it? Obviously, like you said, you'd played Katawa in the past, and then after some time, Snoot Wani kind of stepped up and was like, "Hey, pay attention to me real quick."
Yeah. It actually was a completely off the wall recommendation by Steam. It's like I said, it's not like I play VNs, so nothing about that would have steered towards my recommendation pool, but Steam's like, hey, Gator VN. And I just looked at it, I was like, fair enough, I'll check it out. So I ended up picking it up, and then by delightful coincidence, I was, like many people in our sort of interest sphere, I've got insomnia. So I ended up not sleeping much in the general time frame anyway, so I pretty much blew through the whole of Wani across like 48 hours. And then it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. That was really good. And then I'm like, I bet there's a Reddit for this. So sure enough. And then that led me to the Snoot Club, which then steered me towards Snoot Game. And I'm like, I got it. At this point, I may as well. Then I played that. I'm like, dang it, that's really good too.
So you just came across peak, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. And now it's ruined forever because it's like, okay, nothing's really gonna. I'm sure there are other VNs that are gonna scratch a similar itch, but it's also like I'm kind of scared to even try. Because it would really suck if I go 3 for 3 and then the third one just sucks.
Yeah, I've noticed that tends to be a little bit of a common sentiment there, where people are like, "Yo, this was really, really fucking good. I don't know if things are gonna be able to really compete."
Right. I've stepped on 2 landmines that are duds. I'm not sure about risking a third. That's an inversion of the metaphor. So yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that it was just complete random happenstance of like, hey, it came out on Valentine's Day and Steam was like, you'll like this. I'm like, sure, maybe, I guess.
Why not?
And it was right. I mean, fair play, Steam. Well done.
So. Yeah, Steam can sometimes hang out some bangers when it isn't trying to suggest you fucking hentai games for no good reason. But
boys, the glowies are getting me.
What's up, Jake?
The glowies are getting me.
The glowies are getting you?
Yes. My internet keeps cutting out, and thank God you haven't noticed.
We're not gonna have another fucking repeat, are we?
I don't think. I hope not.
Oh boy.
Okay.
That was Vize's spotlight, wasn't it?
Yeah,
where
but
you
at least
just
I'm still here.
Yeah.
And you didn't notice. I was just being eerily quiet on your end.
Oh, I just assumed you were letting Arlock talk.
Obviously, he had it, and the co-host was just gonna let him steer. You just outed yourself for no reason.
Yeah, I know, but I am an honest man with honest
Fair.
morals.
He knows that mentioning that means I can bring up the previous stream where he was out of it for 1 hour. Like the first hour, he was just not there.
That was the first stream I was supposed to be the co-host.
Yeah, the premiere of the co-host, and he was not there for it because the internet shot him dead.
Oy, oy, oy.
But
That's rough.
It's been good for him since, so That's
Okay,
something.
so fair enough.
Maybe I'm fucking due for one.
Don't fucking say that. What's your problem?
And then just out. He's gone. He's like, oh god, there it went.
It's okay. I'll get on my phone. Fuck it. I don't care.
Well,
Low
let's
death Jake
let's
Red.
hope it doesn't get to that. But yeah, so
we'll try and avoid that.
so it sounds like you were a Gator Bro first and foremost, huh?
Correct. Yes.
I think Jake, you're a Gator Bro too, right? You came in
Yep,
at that
dap
time.
me up.
Fuck yeah, all three of us. That's good to hear. Yeah, no,
Nice.
I was kind of in a similar boat. I had previously heard of Snoot Game, and I had taken a look at it at one point, and I just kind of like made a mental note. I was like, okay, I should probably play that at some point, and then just never got around to it. And then earlier this year, when it was around about the time to come out, I don't remember if it was Steam that recommended it or if I saw like a post somewhere else mentioning Wani. I was like, oh, okay, maybe you know what? I don't have anything I'm streaming really. It's on Valentine's Day. Fuck it, let's go. And then I weekend warriored it over the course of like 3 streams and like 20 something hours. And
Nice.
yeah, that was a fucking experience.
Yeah, it's a good word for it.
Yeah.
See, what's funny is what since this is obviously the general hot topic that everybody has to bring up, what ending order did you get?
Order or just first one?
No, order, because it's funnier for me.
Okay. I'll let
Which
you
is
go
an
first.
obvious thing to say.
Well, I know the ending 3 was my first one, and that shit broke me.
Fair.
So I was streaming it with my buddy Jeremy, and we were just doing voices the whole time, right?
Yeah.
When you get to that graveyard section, I had to mute because I had to I had to go ball for a second.
Getting a little choked up there. Yeah,
Oh, it was more than
fair,
just getting a little
fair.
choked up. I needed to pull back and let him take over, but
Fair.
fuck, what was it after that? I want to say it was 3, 4, 2, 1, if I'm
okay.
remembering correctly. Because I think
Yeah.
when I did Snoot, I'd have to take a look. Jake, you can take over for a second while I
Yeah,
peep the
mine was
VODs.
also 3, 4, 2, 1. I saved the best for last. Smiles.
Shut up.
I'm a freak that loves tragedy, so I'm the only probably one of the only guys that
Fair.
likes E1 for what it
Yeah.
is.
You get a lot of people in the other Discord that make jokes about E1 is best ending. So,
Yeah, I mean,
50-50
I
on
don't know
if
if
they
I'd
actually think
quantify
that,
it.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. if
Best
I'd
is a strong word.
Yeah,
But
I don't-
emotionally, it objectively has a huge impact. So,
yeah. But between the two negative endings, I actually like 2 better, and that's not for any reason at all.
So,
Not for any specific reason.
yeah. I think he has a specific reason. Anyway, no, for me it was funny because I got 4 on my first playthrough.
Mhm.
Spicy.
And then I got 3, and then I got 2, and then I got 1. Which I understand is the worst possible order to experience the endings.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
The good news is obviously I can just turn around, blow back through 4, and then walk straight into the epilogue, which obviously makes you feel better. But it's just like I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't know why I decided to do this. This is a terrible plan. Oh well, we're too far in. Might as well finish it.
Is that allure of the epilogue? You're like, okay, well, I guess we got to dive into hell to get it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's like I wasn't sure what the because obviously Wani for whatever reason launched without the stuff like the gallery and all that jazz. So it's like I understand there's multiple endings because it flags the card for you, but I didn't realize until I went poking around after I got 4 that it's like, oh yeah, there's an epilogue. It's like, oh cool, how'd I get that? You get all the endings. I'm like, man,
Son of a bitch.
yeah. I know they're gonna be bad, and yeah, they were pretty bad.
They were not good. They were not
Hey,
good.
So, but
It's all-
epilogue was worth it. It was a very enjoyable experience. So,
Yep.
Pretty good. It's a
but
pretty good
would
segue.
recommend doing that order. So,
I don't know what the ideal order would be, to be honest, because I don't think you want to get 1 or 2 as your first ones, right?
I feel like you'd have to do 3 and then 1 or 2, and you close out on 4, so you can go straight into the epilogue.
Yeah, that seems to be the right way to go about it with that.
How do you just do that though? I mean, I guess you'd have to plan it out in advance.
I know that's
I mean-
that's the rough thing.
If you stumble into 3 on your blind playthrough, and then you decide your order for the other ones, that would work out. But
That's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the people that got 1 on their first playthrough. That had to have been a rough time.
We know a couple of those.
Yep.
And we know one who's one co-defender.
Yep. That's an interesting one, but
He's a good boy.
He's a good lad, if a little misguided sometimes. But yeah, no, like a good ending first, and then knocking out the bad endings is probably the way to go, and then just pick up whatever one you left off. Because like 3 is still a good ending.
Oh yeah.
But you know, obviously it's not 4.
I'm the holder of what seems to be a very common sentiment of realistically, ending 3 is just a slower boil ending 4.
Yeah.
They're gonna get there in the end. So
yeah, absolutely. You just get extra emotions.
Yeah, what makes it sweet?
All right. Well, I mean that's a little bit of the Wani side of things. We could hop over real quick to the Snoot side. What did your ending spread look like on that one?
I got 3 first.
Okay.
Because it's funny because looking back, I was doing very well on the choice thing for points and stuff like that. I ended up interrupting one option early before she went on her rant on the roof,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up just barely closing me out. So when I found out that, I'm like, man, really? Come on. But yeah, I got ending 3 first, which that one didn't feel as positive in a relative sense, obviously, as Wani's E3.
Yeah.
And then after that, I did 4 because I'm stupid, and then I did 2 and I did 1. So because I'm dumb and just make bad decisions on a regular basis, apparently.
Hey, just leave one for last, right? Why not? What about you, Jake? You want to go ahead and spread yours out real quick?
Oh, what I got for Snoot?
Yeah, for Snoot.
Yeah.
Oh, I just went right down the line. I got 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
just the countdown, huh?
Well, I'd already played Wani by that point, and I was like pilled, so I was just like, yeah, okay, I know how to get this bitch to do what I want.
How bad could it be?
It can be bad.
And I don't like Fang nearly as much as Olivia. I don't give a fuck about that bitch. Woo! Push her off the roof myself. Yeehaw!
You'll find out pretty quick
Savage.
Jake has some untamed energy at times.
Kind of getting that vibe, yeah.
Yeah. I think, I had to go check it real quick. I went, I pendulumed that shit. I went from 4 to 1 to 2 to 3.
See, that's not terrible.
Well, part of me was
I think if you sandwich the bad endings, whichever good endings you get on the pendulum, that's not too bad.
Yeah, you got to bookmark it, right?
That's
But
a good way to put it. Yeah, bookmarking it.
given that
For
I
bookending. Yeah.
I had played Wani, so I knew I was like, okay, E1's gonna fucking suck. I just got E4. Let's go ahead and just nosedive as hard as we can, and then start climbing back. And then school snooting,
Man,
and I was like, oh,
that choice of words on nosedive. Oof. That's,
well, you know. I guess it's that unconscious brain coming forward or some shit. But yeah, I definitely can agree about the whole E3 thing with Snoot not being quite as good as Wani.
Yeah.
definitely a
Poor
bit
girl.
more jaded compared to E3.
Yeah,
Wani.
it's that over reliance on Fang on Anon there that really kind of it gives you this weird little feeling like, I mean, it's happy, but like, is this really great right now?
It's happy, but it's like a cloudy kind of happy. It's like
It's happy in spite of
yeah.
what's happening, as opposed to Wani, where it's like, it's happy, we just have a little bit more work to do.
Right.
Or a lot of work on Anon's part. Go read Bonds.
Jake, you want to go ahead and
That's pretty good.
you want to get your shill out of the way real quick before we dive any
What?
deeper?
You want me to shill now?
I just, for talking about fix, might as well, right?
Oh, fuck it.
get
Go
out
read
right now.
Punch Drunk Gator, I guess, if you're looking for a Wani fic after you finish Inco Noted, and Inco Noted, Love is Colorblind.
There you
Go
go.
read Punch Drunk Gator, featuring D. Fault.
You good?
Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Dickhead? What do you mean?
What do you mean, dickhead? You've shielded on every fucking spotlight, I'm pretty sure.
No, I didn't.
I'm pretty sure it has been brought up on every spotlight, at the very least.
Yeah, the last time it was you.
Okay, and now we're gonna get it out of the way now.
Whatever. Fuck you.
Okay. Well, I think we've gotten like an initial little like peek into the community here out of the way. So let's go ahead and dive a little deeper here into the first fic, the big one, the Inco Noted.
Yeah.
What initially sparked your kind of like idea for writing the fic?
That is actually really funny because pretty much what had happened is, because I'm not a fanfic person generally, so amusingly, Wani and Snoot, by recommendation of some people in the Snoot Club Discord, made some recommendations on fics, so I slowly started kind of getting around to reading some of those, and I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. I get why people do the fanfic thing. And then I don't remember what caused it, but there was a unusual spat of people deciding to post brain damaged Olivia memes in the Discord, and I was just like, I don't like that. I think I'll have to fix this.
What if this but Inco?
Pretty much, just like, we're just gonna kind of flip that around and give Inco brain damage and see where that went, and it went to a very weird place. 85,000 words weird. So it's just like, oh god, what happened?
Hey, trust me, dog.
It was gonna be yeah, you probably get that. It was gonna start as a long one shot. Because I was just like, he's gonna thump his head good, he's gonna wake up, he's gonna talk funny, we'll have some characters work out some issues and get it a comfortable place. And then there I am, 10,000 words in at the end of the first chapter. I'm like, God, I'm not anywhere near done. This is going to be a multi-part thing, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
Realized pretty quick this is not a done and dusted type deal.
No, God, no, it wasn't.
I get the spiraling out of control thing. So I've told this story before, but I'm sure you're not familiar with it. When I started writing Punch Drunk, it was out of spite because I was writing another fic beforehand with Inco as the protagonist. And I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I hate writing this dude. I can't write for Inco. So I literally just said, fuck it, and made my own character and then wrote my own story. And now it's 160,000 words deep.
Yup. Yeah, that's about right.
And it's still not done.
Yeah, right.
I'm at chapter 24, Jake.
Hey, I'm working on it.
All right. So it's pretty interesting because I'm trying to think, like, the only brain damage Olivia thing I can think of is like there was the I can't remember the name of the artist, but he was doing like a whole comic where like Olivia shows back up and is like,
yeah,
that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
There's a couple random, like, she's got a like a sad drawing of her hugging like Inco and saying, the stuff like, I do this for you, Inco, that, like, pretty base, like, it's not to be taken particularly seriously kind of a thing. But yeah, then that dude started doing like the actual bloody full-fledged comic where it's just like, it's just Fidel. Pain constantly.
Yep,
it's just suffering for some reason. So that's part of why I was like, no, I don't like that. I think I'm gonna fix it.
Nah, time to bonk Inco. Just give him a little bit of a
just casually toss him down the stairs. It's okay.
Yeah, it ended up well for him, so
it did. It ended up really well for basically everybody.
And now anytime that there's a problematic character, we ask, what if we just hit him over the head really hard? Oh.
Works every time.
But have you thought stairs? The gravity is the great corrector.
Can I interest you in shovel?
Well, since we're talking about Inco specifically here, like the E1 Inco, what are your thoughts about E1 Inco? Because like we said before, we've got some sympathizers in the Discord here for the boy.
I mean, I don't know how much cross contamination there is for the communities, but obviously we yap frankly obscene amount about the endings and stuff in the other Discord. So I've railed on it before, but it's like, generally I am very pro just about every bloody character, because Caveman On did a really good job of making them fully fleshed out, but very flawed characters.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
ending one, Inco, not any different. He's really dumb and really selfish, but other than the inevitable issues that come from kind of the development challenges that caused a lot of editing oddities, it's how he gets there is really tragically predictable. So, and while he gets most of the flack, realistically everybody failed in ending one. Literally everybody, except Vinny. Vinny didn't really do anything wrong, but he had a cold. God,
Vinny
can
just
you
made
imagine?
macaroni art.
And
Oh, poor
sneezed.
Benny.
But like, God, everybody else categorically failed throughout all of E1 to get there. So Olivia gets a lot of pass, which she obviously is the primary victim in the end, but like people are really accepting of everything she also screwed up. And then the Pains are really well meaning and also did basically nothing when things started to spiral. And then obviously Liz was pretty much not in the room.
Liz
ever.
was Liz.
Yeah, pretty much.
Liz had her head off somewhere
She
else.
had the neck length. She could have peeked her head in it any time. Didn't. And then obviously Ben just needs a bit of like slapping around upside the head broadly to get him into a better place. And he definitely didn't get that in E1. He just kind of sucked.
Yeah.
And then Mia's Mia. So.
Mia needs an ass kicking, is what she needs.
Yeah. So it is a tragic culmination of the inevitability of somebody that did not grow up with any meaningful connections and an infinite paycheck. And then you're supposed to go, hey, this chick likes you, fix her brain, and he screwed up. And it's like, well, yeah, obviously. He's an 18-year-old idiot that's never even like had real friends before. Do you expect him to fix somebody with a neurosis? No, that's not happening, man.
Nope.
So
instead he gets his own. Fuck you.
yeah, pretty much. So I would say that ending one, Inco is definitively the villain of the ending, but I hold him as roughly as sympathetic in his patheticness as basically everybody else that screwed up, which coincidentally was basically everybody. So
yeah,
kind of some complexity there.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that coming forth in Inco Noted and how you go about addressing all of where everybody's fault lies and how do we all come together to fix this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I when I was writing it, I felt that because obviously this is a while past now, and you have ever increasing interpretations on the characters and other fan works and stuff, but having Randy just straight up be like, God, why did we have this random 18-year-old take like full charge of our goddaughter's mental health? That was actually stupid. That's just kind of getting laid out flat like that felt kind of novel at the time in its own way. Because I don't think that was getting too much attention, because basically Inco's the primary punching bag, rightfully. But
yeah, it's good that you were able to write that kind of perspective on things, because man, it is so easy to just hate Wunko. Because
sure.
everything's going wrong, and like he's the one who's obviously doing a bunch of like wrong shit, so obviously a player is going to be like, man, I have a lot of emotions right now. What am I going to do with these emotions? I'm just going to throw it at the skinny over there.
Yeah. Ignoring, casually not looking down and realizing it's their hands on the keyboard at the time. It's fine. We'll ignore that one.
Just
don't look down. It's okay.
Phantom hands or whatever, right?
I mean, I was so mad at Wunko, I wrote a fucking one-shot where Dorian just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah. Yup, you linked that to me. That's really funny. So, yeah, and I mean, being perfectly real, obviously, I agree with the point I'm about to make, but Wunko really needed to get a percussive correction of his behavior. Yeah. Well, like, because at the actual ending point, he's so cloistered in on himself, trying to avoid blame for a combination of his screw-ups and everybody else's, but everybody is piling it on him because they're also trying to avoid blaming themselves. Like, Damien was justified in going after Wonko, but, like, he's also avoiding the fact that he was a big part of the whole problem, too. So, it's unsurprising that Wonko kind of retreated in on himself to hit the none of this was my fault. But, talking to him at that point is not going to be particularly useful, but you put him in the hospital for a couple of days where he could do nothing but think things through.
And then suddenly things start to kind of click together in the head, and you're like,
yeah,
oh.
Because I think that's something that gets missed a lot in people's reads on Inco, where the half of his it's one of his greatest strengths and one of his biggest failings is that he's super introspective and likes to think things through. The problem is if you're doing that and you reach the wrong conclusion, then you're like, well, I thought this through, so obviously it's correct and everybody else is just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But, I ended up doing that in Noted, where he's stuck in the hospital literally by himself for several days. Just like, well, I could do nothing but sit here, stare at the ceiling, and think. And obviously, with the events shaking out slightly differently in the story, he came to a conclusion of, oh god, I suck.
This is.
And then once he makes that realization, he can start actually going places from there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because you can't fix a problem until you acknowledge that there's a problem in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there is one thing that I saw Artiv mention. Of course, it's fucking Artiv asking this, but what's since you were talking about how like you can see like most characters like in somewhat of a positive light, or at least how like things can be fixed with them. How do you think about Mia? Because I think that's one character that generally most people I've talked to agree is just irredeemable. Like, what do you do with her?
Give her a bonus chapter and some actual substance.
In terms of canon, I would agree. She needs a bonus chapter. Both her and Ben do. Ben got a little bit of padding to fill out why he is how is. But still realistically falls kind of short to see the full picture for Ben. And Mia, obviously everybody's interpretations on characters and stuff is going to vary based on how they read it, life experiences, yada yada yada, all that crap. But it's one of those things that I've talked about in the other Discord a lot when we get on the debate, because there are people that really like Mia, either for the memes or actually sympathizing with the character. But it is not hard to see that something really, really unpleasant happened in her life relatively recently, and she's just done with literally everybody. So, because we were actually talking about that in the one channel just the other day, where it's like nobody is in a committed, mostly loving relationship with their boyfriend for years and has preemptively issued the edict that when I graduate, I'm leaving the state. You may or may not be along for the ride, if they are not trying to GTFO out of their life situation as fast as physically possible.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even give Ben like a couple of weeks to get his life sorted before he moves with you? Really? Oh god, what happened? So, and then you get other characters that add a little bit of extra backing to that, like with the credits sequence with Kiara and Lunara, where there's just like, why do we even like her? Well, she wasn't that bad until recently. And it's like, okay, it's like, what happened though? Because, jeez. All right. Cripes me up.
Yeah, I experimented with that a little. I can't say nothing because it's spoilers, but go read Punch Drunk Gator.
Right. But yeah, for Noted, I tried to keep things as canon and rigidly in line with everything, other than the obviously specific twist that yields the whole of the story. And when it came to Mia, I never actually gave her a background because we don't know what it is. I didn't want to. I guess in my headspace, I didn't want to step on any toes if any sort of like bonus content did come down the line later and fixed it or whatever. So it's just like, in my head, we're just going to go with some kind of non-specific bad thing. And it pretty much warped her entire worldview. And somehow people completely jived with that. because it's just like it didn't even really change much. It just gave her a reason rather than just I am bully. And people are like, good enough, cool.
That's all she fucking needs.
Exactly. That's the funny part. It usually doesn't even take much. You just need something there, and suddenly it's like, okay, so like she sucks, obviously, but like there's room. Like the door is cracked open, and we have a potential here. And then obviously by the time Love is Colorblind happens, you know, we're 15 years on. They have a kid, and she's freaking mellowed out. She's still a douche, but like she's at least a like very pragmatic, blunt person rather than openly antagonistic to everybody that continues to draw breath. So
had some time to kind of maybe like reflect on a couple things and just like be
like,
all right.
Yeah, and like it's and like I had put in Love is Colorblind, it's one of those. She's a decent, not good, but a decent person now, and even affording that, and obviously the tiny bit of camaraderie that sort of formed between her and Inco in Noted, and then obviously the friendship with Ben is generally repaired. Both Inco and Olivia are still like, if you could stand on the other side of the kitchen, that'd be great. So, it's like, I don't hate you, but I'd also just kind of don't want to today, so it's just it's such an amusing dynamic to me, because it's like, God, that feels really real.
I just want you to go over there.
Yeah, I don't want to uninvite you. But if I don't have to talk to you today, that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I guess rolling into the next question, I feel like when we were doing the reading and whatnot, people were like agreeing that all of the characters and the way that you wrote them felt very believable and like in line with what would be expected from the canon. So I guess what I wanted to know here is, how did you kind of go about keeping to the soul of these characters while you're exploring this alternate reality for E1?
Yeah. A combination of just my brain conveniently encapsulated the characters sufficiently, but also I have, God, it's like what, 80 hours in Wani at this point. It's actually significantly more than that, because I've also played it on my Steam Deck and stuff, so the numbers get kind of funky when you start multi-devicing it. But I've got a lot of hours in Wani, and then even more so, I pretty much had the game's script up in a like to the side pretty much the entire time I was writing. So I was just kind of immersion therapying E1, which, let me tell you, not exactly fun.
Yeah, I bet not.
But like, yeah, it helped, where it's just like anytime I'm like, what would this character do? And I'm like, oh, there was something kind of like that at one point in the story or another, and I could just crack open the script and go look for it. And so even if it wasn't like me pulling dialogue or anything like that, it's just you can kind of pick the vibe. And then, just like I said, it's just I lucked out that my brain just happened to click well enough to keep it in character throughout the span of it.
Right. So it's a mix of having a good idea of these characters in the first place, given how long you played the game, and being able to cross-reference, like you said, via the script. If there is something similar, it's like, okay, well, they reacted in this way in this piece, so from that we can kind of guess that they would do something akin to this.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it like I feel like that's one of the biggest things that you need to nail when you're trying to do like a good fanfic. Because the moment you start losing the essence of those characters, people start kind of squinting and they're like, what's going on here?
Yeah. And it's like I said, I was never particularly big on expansive fan works like fanfics until this, obviously. But and I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to dunk on anybody's effort, because anybody putting the work in to create is to be lauded generally. Weird. So I'm not going to pick any specific examples, but as my own amateur idiot opinion, I've definitely had stories where I started reading it and then you get it where it's like this character, you know, like Anon being the jaded, misanthropic 4chaner douche that he is. They'll just like suddenly he starts love bombing Lucy, and it's just constantly smooches and I love yous and stuff like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
would he do that though? I don't know. So, and then all you need is that one chip in the armor, and then you can start getting cracks to form, and your brain's just like, yeah, but they wouldn't do that though. So
yeah, and then it kind of becomes a little bit more of a slog to get through it at that point. Like
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
see it to the end, so that way you can know what happens. But at the same time, you're like,
yeah, exactly. And sometimes that's just growing pains of the story.
mm-hmm.
And it evens out as you go and stuff like that. But sometimes that just kind of sticks, and if you notice it, then you can't not notice it, and then it gets weird.
Right. It's just one of those things you got to be careful with.
Exactly.
Looks at Jake.
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to add on to that?
Well, I was just gonna say it's okay. You can tell me if you dropped Punch Drunk.
I'm not gonna lie. I haven't even gotten to it yet. It's just like I want to like sit down and just blow through that. The good news is I have vacation time coming up, so that was actually on my to-do.
Well, color me excited.
I know for a fact I'm just gonna be like, all right, when I start reading this, I'm really not gonna stop. So I need some time. So yeah, it's still on the to-do. I have not dropped the idea of it. It's just been carefully off to the side so I don't ruin another several days of sleep or something like that, because that's clearly a thing that happens.
Enough. I get you. Look, when I first started reading like Snoot and Wani fan fiction, I was probably I'm a binge reader. I will unashamedly admit it. When I find something that grips me, I will just sit down and like fuck sleep. I don't need it. I'll just read this whole fucking thing tonight. When I find like 3 fics in a row that I really want to read, well, oops, I'm staying up for like 24 plus hours.
Oh god, yeah, I feel that one.
Starts reaching for the monster energy.
I don't have any, and I haven't had any for days.
I don't even do energy drinks. I don't do coffee. So it's extra bad for me, because it's just like I can't go to sleep, but I really want to.
Well, it doesn't help that my brain is bad.
I mean,
fair.
When it comes to like energy shit for me, like I don't do coffee. I don't do like dedicated energy drinks. The only thing that I really fucking do is I'll have like a Coke, but that's just because I like Coca-Cola, not cocaine, by the way. That one would be crazy. But
something original recipe, you know.
Yeah. And then just a little bit of gamer subs if I need like a fucking real kick in the ass, like I did tonight. But
gotcha.
Other than that, I don't do any of the other shit. But I guess on the topic of like fanfics you've read, would you mind maybe giving us a little idea of where you've dipped your toes?
Let's see. God, I'm trying to remember what the first ones I got in on.
I mean, you could say the obvious one.
But I was gonna say Bonds was one of them. Yeah, that was inevitable. That was a given. Which is actually funny because I had a small conversation in the other Discord with Starman, because there were some bits where I was like, God, that felt weird going back through a second read, and my brain was like, that's wrong. It's still a good story. I know some people don't hold as high of opinion on it as like the general consensus, but I thought that was a very pleasant story.
Yeah, Bonds is wonderful.
Yeah. It's like, if it doesn't click for you, completely fine. But
okay.
as far as the read I had with it, it was a very fun time. So besides, there just needs to be more fluffy story crap with these characters anyway. So you know, whatever. Otherwise, oh geez, what do we got? Echoes of Regret has been one I've been sticking with, and has been a fantastic time.
Absolutely.
Broken Wings. That was a pretty good one. I felt the pacing was kind of wild, but overall it was a fun read.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I've commented, and people say I do a really good job of pacing, which in my stories, which freaks me out because I don't get it. But I don't like wallowing on things. So
yeah.
I'm just like, they're sad, we're gonna fix it. Just move on.
Yep. Fair enough.
But somehow I managed to pace it well enough that it doesn't bug people. But
yeah, the pacing.
So I definitely get the vibe of wanting to just keep things rolling, which amusingly brings me into another one of the big ones that I have been sticking with, and thankfully it's been kind of picking up on the more hope maxing side of things. But None in the Chamber was another big one, and that one, God, set yourself up in the pig pen. We're wallowing.
Oh yeah, we know.
Yeah, we're reading it right now, and we just got to a chapter where it was like, "Hey, everything's," and we're fucking getting kicked in the chin. Great.
Yeah, that's
Build you up, break you
about
down.
right. That's
Build you up,
about right.
break you down.
So, but yeah, and then, God, there's just a bunch of fics. It's hard to keep tabs on which ones I've read versus haven't. It's a bunch, and then it's funny because like somehow I've established myself as some kind of a weird figure in the community, in the at least a small chunk of it, which weirds me out. But you get a lot of people that it's just like I'm talking and we come up with ideas, and then it's like I'm writing a fic. It's like, okay, cool, and then they put it out. I'm like, dang, this is actually pretty good. So yeah, honestly, I haven't gotten super wild with any of the deep ones. Also, I can't read Spanish, so apparently I'm missing out on a bunch of ones.
Yeah.
Which bums me out. But pretty much it's one of those things. If it's one of the big names in the space, it's one of the ones I've read, and if it's one of the smaller ones, I probably haven't gotten to it yet, kind of a thing. So.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the comment you had on pacing earlier, just wanted to throw my hat in the ring on that one, because the first fic we actually ended up reading on stream was Broken Wings.
Oh, that's right.
And then we moved into Inco Noted afterwards. So that was kind of like a whiplash of contrasting pacing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I there's still some spots I felt may have gone a little too quickly in Inco Noted, and I've gotten some feedback to that end. I don't even principally disagree. I think it's in a comfortable spot, but it's definitely not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But Broken Wings, as good as it is, it's like we're gonna snort a line of cocaine and then go.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know what? I'm down for it. Let's do this thing.
That shit takes off.
With Punch Drunk in regards to pacing, I at least have Wani's fucking storyline to follow, so that's been carrying me through this.
True.
I mean, you just intersperse little beat up sections.
Yeah, then we just put a little bit of ass kicking here and there. And then, oh God, when I start Lines and Waves, I'm gonna have to manage my own pacing, and that's gonna be nightmarish. But hey, I'm confident.
I'm sure you got it.
Got a wealth of information to draw upon when it comes to pacing, so you ought to have this, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I mean, when it comes to, because this is a good way to segment into it, actually planning out fics and whatnot. When it came to Inco Noted, how did you go about thinking how you were gonna write it out? Because one thing that kind of stood out was the time frame on which Inco Noted was released. Because I'm going to say that the first chapter was published on like the 2nd, and then the last chapter was like the 8th. So that was like a 6-day time frame.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I post as I write, so there's no like pre-buffering releases or anything like that.
Right.
So that was me just writing 85,000 words in 6 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not joking when I say I get some really wild bouts of insomnia sometimes, and if I can't go to sleep, I may as well do something productive, kind of a thing.
I wrote about 100,000 words of Punch Drunk in about 17 days.
Yeah. So yeah, you get the vibe.
Yeah, I get you, dog. Don't worry.
Just letting you speak.
Yeah, as far as like how that started, like I said, I pretty much just started writing with the original impression that it was going to be a fairly long one shot. I hit 10,000 words. I'm like, God, it's not done. All right, we'll see where chapter 2 goes. And then it just kind of kept happening until about, I think I started having an actual plan around like 4, because I'm one of those stream of consciousness writers. I just kind of headspace myself on what I'm doing. I got a vague idea of where things need to go for the chapter, and I just start doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't until it was proven to be, this is actually going to be like a thing. You should probably have at least a couple of ideas for where it goes next. But planning out wise doesn't really happen that much. I just kind of have a Google Doc where I just kind of hit some general bullet points for major plot events, and then just otherwise it's just start writing and eventually end up at that bullet point.
Right. So you kind of pick a place off in the distance. You say, I'm just going to run over there and let's see how long it takes.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much that.
I feel like maybe I should start doing that.
You think so?
I've been having some issues, right? Like I'm a stream of consciousness writer too, except I don't even make bullet points. I just sit my fat ass down in a chair and start writing. So
Yeah.
but recently
fair.
with 24, I've been struggling a little bit. So I think I might take that advice, maybe run with it a little.
Time to jot
Yeah,
a couple things.
I mean, hey, worst case is it doesn't help any, and then you just stop. So, you know, kind of whatever. So yeah, it's like I said, I don't do any writing and then pre-writing and then doing a queue or anything like that. It's pretty much just I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write, and then I sit down. Usually, pretty much for a sizable block of time, because obviously when you're dumb enough to write 10,000 words per chapter, it's gonna take. Like I type fairly quickly, and it still takes like on average 4 or 5 hours to do that many words.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's when I was doing Noted originally, that was pretty much again delightfully saddled with I have not slept for a protracted period of time, and it was bad for that week. I had gotten what was it? I think I had over the span of the 7 days. I know the schedule was 6 days, but over that week, I think I had clocked in a grand total of like 11 hours of sleep.
Oh, fuck me.
Jesus Christ.
It was a bad time. Like I said, it's one of those I cannot sleep. It's physically not happening. I may as well be productive.
Fair enough.
And luckily, I didn't crack like an egg. But so yeah, it was one of those things where it's just like it is currently 2 a.m. I guess I'll start writing, and then I just wrote for 5 hours straight, because it's not like I had anything better to do at 2 a.m. And then as soon as it was done, all right, we'll just post it up on AO3 then I guess.
Crash out.
Yeah, except then there was no actual crashing. I just kind of played games until it was work AM, and then
oh boy,
and then I worked, and then maybe took a nap after work and for like an hour or so, and then it's like, well, I'm awake again. May as well write, I suppose.
Back to the old grindstone.
So yeah, when people are like, man, that's really impressive that you wrote that much in 6 days, I'm like, objectively, yes. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a terrible plan.
I don't recommend it either, man.
Equal parts awe-inspiring, equal parts scary.
Yeah, I've been clocking generally 3 to 4 days per update for everything else since then as a personally set pace, where it's just like I need time to do other things. So
yeah, I mean, fair fucking enough. That is.
So yeah, it's like 3 days gives me, because if I sit down in 3 to 4 days, and if I sit down in like anywhere between 3 to 5 hour block, depending on how much the stream of consciousness rolls that particular day, you're looking at it's knocked out in 1 or 2 days, and that gives me 2-3 days of like not writing time to do a whole bunch of other things instead, and that's generally been a much better balance for me. Realistically, probably still rather aggressive for your average writer. I still wouldn't recommend that pace.
Yeah,
It's kind of wild.
It's a lot more sustainable than what happened for the first one, at least.
Yes, very much more sustainable.
absolutely. Yeah, I get the fucking frenetic writing shit. Like when I first started writing Punch Drunk, I was tweaking real hard.
Yeah.
I think I put the first like 6 chapters out within like 2 days or 3 days of each other.
Yep.
Like not even within each other. In like a 2-3 day time span, I put out like 6 or 7 chapters. I was just like, I gotta go.
I'm curious, since like I said, I have not gotten to it yet. Heavy emphasis. But how many words per chapter is that? I'd have to feel like it's probably you ended up doing roughly the same word output as I ended up doing, but I'm curious.
It varies. I'm at 23 chapters right now, with the 24th being written. But the longest chapter I've written, it was above 10,000. But I think most of them generally sit from like 5,000 to 8,000 normally. Normal size chapters. I just put out a lot of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like 5,000 feels like the comfortable normal person writing length.
Right.
So, well,
that's 5,000 is my minimum. I generally like to write more than that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've seen what I output, so obviously I principally agree. But I think for like normal pacing, that seems like just kind of like a sort of a naturalistic expression of how humans write. That seems to be kind of a comfortable spot for that 5,000-ish. So, like I said, I don't think I've ever posted anything under 7,000 words because I'm stupid. But
hey, you got a lot of words to get out, and you want them all put in one spot. I can't fault that.
I can definitely attest to like the difference in length in some of the chapters in Punch Drunk. When we were reading it last time, it was like 2 chapters back to back that ran about like maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And then Jake was like, hold up. This next 10, one's a long one. And I was like, no, I can do it. It's fine. An hour and 40 minutes later, I'm like, oh, fuck.
You ran around the neighborhood twice, and then we suckered you into doing a half marathon.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, dog, I told you could take a break through the middle of it. And you were like, no, I don't need to. I'm not a bitch.
I said I ain't no pussy, and I kept reading.
And you got punched in the fucking
I got punch drunk.
Did Rocky Balboa stop halfway up the steps? No, dies.
No, don't worry. I'm pretty sure the arcade chapter is the longest one. I think you're fine from now on.
Fuck yeah, man.
Wait, hold on.
No, don't say hold on.
I'm looking. Okay, that one's long.
He's rearing back with 24 here. He's gonna really fuck me up with that.
Oh, hell no, man. This shit ain't gonna be long, bro. I'm trying to put this bitch out. I'm so sick of staring at this unfinished piece of shit. I'm trying to get done with Punch Drunk so I can write my next fic, dog. My own Love is Colorblind.
And I have no doubt that should be a trip. So...
at the mention of Love is Colorblind.
Speaking of which, segue.
Yeah, I love segues. When did you realize that you were gonna work on Love is Colorblind? Was it like during Inco Noted, or was it in some time?
No. It's really funny because we have a storyboard thread up on the other Discord for Inco Noted. So obviously people were throwing random ideas out. I was posting the stuff in there, and then it was right at the end where obviously, you got the epilogue, and obviously Olivia's at that point pregnant, therefore the implication to kids happened. And I was like, I'm cool with this. I'll probably write more at some point, but I have no immediate ideas, so I'm cool with this kind of sitting in place. And then people in the Discord were just like, yeah, but like, what about this idea? I'm like, that's not a bad idea. And that just kind of went on for like 2.5 weeks straight, 3 weeks, something like that. And then it's just at one point I'm like, God, fine, shut up, I'll write the sequel. God.
You're gonna pull my leg, fine.
I want to talk
to you.
You're putting
too many good ideas. Fine, I'll write it. Gee.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about your Neanderthal boy, because I know I've mentioned I've got my own.
Yeah, that was funny when we were talking in the Discord, and you're just like, so
I swear to God, I'm not copying you when I made this character. I swear. I've had these fucking like references around for so long, and then I started reading Love is Colorblind, and fucking, you came out with him. Yeah. And he was like, fine. I was like, fuck, he did it first, son of a bitch.
No, I think everybody just kind of has like this internalized premise that ever since Spears, coming from the reference to Primal, I think everybody's just internalized that Neanderthal equal throwing hands.
Yeah, that's true. But at least my Neanderthal has the caveat of being the actual protagonist of his own story instead of being like, the love interest. You can see the love interest for my fic on the wall over there with that nice little poster made by a resident artist.
True.
Between the Lines and Waves. Coming soon, TM.
Yeah.
Can we add a couple asterisks at the end there?
Coming soon, and whenever the next astral alignment is.
Something before Heat Death of the Universe.
Yeah, it'll get there eventually.
Fingers crossed.
I've got a lot of shit I gotta write.
Yeah, if there's one thing I've definitely become very aware of in this community, there's a lot of very talented people and people with a lot of ideas. So,
oh god, yeah,
there's a lot of chefs and there is no shortage of ingredients.
We're just in this giant warehouse-sized kitchen and everybody's cooking.
Mm-hmm.
It's good
One of
shit
those ghost
all around.
kitchens.
Ghosts, you say? Something, something. Anyway.
Oh. Bonds.
No. Talking on the whole soft bullying into the next writing project. That basically seems to just kind of be the flow of things. This Tory game, the current one that I'm working on, that ended up kind of being a similar bit where it was a broad idea, because like I'm sure everybody's privy to its existence, and if they're not, freaking go read it. But I want to kiss that Snoot by Receiver K.
Oh yes, very excellent. Mwah. I love that.
Yeah, and dude's really good at the dynamic, and obviously that had reached the story conclusion not too long ago, and then he rolled into just doing bonus chapters, which in retrospect that's such an annoyingly obvious idea. And like nobody did it before.
I still don't know if I'm gonna do those or not.
I realistically, I'm probably not gonna. I know there's been a lot of joking about it, but it's just like my head's like, write your bloody story and then get out.
That's my mindset right now, dog. I'm just trying to grind it out, baby.
Yeah, but like it was reaching the home stretch on Wannikiss, and dude's really freaking good at writing the Anon Olivia dynamic.
Oh my god,
really bloody good.
So good. It's so fucking good.
And like everybody was just like, man, it's so obvious in retrospect that the 4chaner would hook up with the 4chaner, freaking doy. And so you got the inevitable running joke that since I had wrapped up Love is Colorblind, some of the guys were just like, well, you should do the inversion. And I was like, well, I mean, I could, since I'm apparently bloody the Inco guy, but
Mr. Inco himself.
Oh god, don't get on that running joke. But it's one of those things where a big part of what I have inclinations to write is I don't want to step on anybody's toes. If somebody's got an idea, God, go for it. Don't wait on me.
And then they were like, no, you do it.
Well, and that was kind of the joke. It's like either a lot of ideas thrown around, and obviously with Wannikiss wrapping up, the whole Inco and Snoot game came up, and Receiver had made some passing commentary that may have been on the table. And I was like, I'm cool with that. That would be abso-freaking-lutely rad. But then like a bunch of people on the Discord are like, dude, you should write it. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to take that away from Receiver. I know that's not how it works, but my brain's like, no. It'd be his. Go for it.
You came up with it. I mean, I've seen you guys fucking cooking in the storyboard thread.
Yeah. But like, so it kept coming up. So I'm like, okay, look, I will ask if that is in the cards, and if he already has plans for it, that's it. I'm not gonna try and like step on anybody's toes. So I messaged him on AO3, and he was basically like, no, go for it. I'm like, oh no.
Oh boy, and now here we are.
Yeah, no,
you're what? It's been a while since I've checked. You're what? 8 chapters deep? 9 chapters deep?
I am about halfway through chapter 9, so that probably posted tomorrow. So yeah.
Well, there you go. Hey everybody, there you go. Something to look forward to.
Right. Yeah, and then like I said, it's one of those things where at this point it's just kind of like people like jokingly but bullying me into writing other things. Because I've been contractually obligated, not actually, to pick up Ghost in the Snoot for the next one that I work on. And that one's going to be a trip and a half, because that is canon ending 1 Snoot game. But we figured out how to de-depress it.
Does it perhaps involve ghosts?
It may in fact involve ghosts.
Is it not going to fuck a ghost?
There's a running meme about that. I'm not going to get into on this on.
Yeah, that's why I said that.
Yeah,
I've seen them.
Yeah. Be careful what people can screen cap in the Discord. That's for sure. So.
Trust me, we're aware of that.
Yeah.
Waddles over.
But yeah, so it's just like I said, that kind of just stumbled in on it. So it's obviously I have no obligations to write anything I don't bloody feel like, because realistically, if you're not feeling it, the story's not going to be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, you can't force yourself to write shit.
Yeah. So, which is why it's convenient good graces that I'm just like, fine, God, I'll write the thing, and then I crank out Love is Colorblind, and I've had a bunch of people say they liked it even more than Noted. I'm like, how? That's not how this works. The sequel's supposed to be bad.
Hold on, somebody in the chat just said something that just drew my attention. Mr. Inco and Mr. Oneco in this. It was Mr. Oneco.
They keep calling me Oneco for whatever fucking reason. I think it's because it gets a rise out of me.
You're Mr. Oneco? I thought they were calling me Mr. Oneco. I'll take the label. I'll be Mr. Oneco.
I fucking typed in chat I was gonna break his knees, but Automod said I can't type that, so whatever. Fuck you, Pints.
I'll be Mr. Oneco.
Wouldn't that be a Trish move anyway?
What, breaking his knees?
Yeah.
Don't fucking.
You want to be Trish?
No.
Mr. Trish?
I don't want to be Trish.
All right, everybody, Mr. Trish.
Stop! Why are you my co-host?
I don't know, because you like me, Smiles?
Oh, great. Now it's going to be insufferable for the next 5 minutes. Brilliant.
I apologize.
Everybody hit him with the my trigger.
I'll just weather the storm and then they'll forget it eventually and I'll be fine.
Right. Memory of a goldfish.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like I said, it's the bullying thing just ended up being kind of funny, and the fact that it worked in the end for what the output was is just kind of scary. So, because it's just like, oh yeah, like they have a kid, and I was like, it'd be like obviously the fan interpretation is Trent is the name given to whatever kid of theirs that's a boy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because duh. If you don't do that, you're wrong.
I'm doing that for Punch Drunk. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. But like I'd have to go back through that storyboard discussion to figure out where the seed of the idea even came from. But I was just like, what if we just had it as a girl for the first one, and the second one can be Trent, and then that led into Olivia's a gigantic stupid nerd. She would absolutely have a Gundam name. And that led to Sayla V, because Sayla is the protagonist name for one of the, I think, the first? I don't remember off the top of my head, but one of the early Gundams. I'm like, that feels Olivia Pace, and then Sayla to Sayla V is the play on words, because you gotta have that for your protagonists. And then once that just started going, it's just like, oh no, this is like an actual good idea.
No, I remember when you first started Love is Colorblind, that was one of the first comments. I was like, oh, Sailor V, that's a funny name.
Yeah, exactly. And then just like said, the stream of consciousness just started bloody going, and then with all the people pitching in random ideas into a gigantic bloody hat I could pick from, the output ended up being pretty good. And then that led into Tori by me being bullied into that. And then, like I said, Ghost of the Snoot's kind of on the chopping block, and it's really funny because one of the guys in the Discord, Beater, has been trying to get me to write a the name we jokingly gave it is I Wani Fix Those Bonds. So it'd be a E2, a Wani E2 fic, and he's been trying to get me to do that, but the title swell of other people bullying me en masse has kind of steered in another direction so far.
You got a bunch of people like ringing some fucking bells like, hey Arlock, take a look at this one real quick.
Yeah, it's pretty much. But I don't know, somehow it's just, we get bullied into a concept and then I write a whole crap ton of words and people somehow like it. So it's pretty much, we're just going to keep doing that, I guess, until people get sick of me.
Here's a question I have.
Yeah.
Do you have a canon design for Obadiah? Like what he looks like? Like visualized? Because I've seen, we have some artists in the Discord, and there's one in particular, Daigo, who made some really killer Inco Noted Love is Colorblind fan art, and I'm not sure if you've ever seen it.
I've seen one or two pieces that people have sent my way.
I'll send it to you.
I don't. Oh yeah, please do. That's also
really
another
good.
freaky thing that I was not ready for, is people actually bloody doing any.
There's this piece in
fan art.
particular that I think, I don't know if you've ever seen this one.
Mm.
I DM'd it to you.
Did Discord eat it? Hold on. There it is. God, Discord, why are you like this?
Can I make like some grabby hands?
That one.
Is that what you think? Is that a good look for Obadiah? You think?
Honestly, I had always figured probably a bit more floofy hair, a bit more Spears-esque, a bit more volume to it, and because in the story I described it as when he pulls the hood up, it kind of floofs out and obscures his face.
Okay, you know what? I'll send it
otherwise,
to you. Put it up on stream.
Yeah, I was making
otherwise,
grabby
honestly,
hands.
I think that's pretty solid because dude's big. So, and he's got the hoodie and whatnot. So it's one of those things where honestly, pretty close. Other than I had always figured a bit more floofy hair.
So would you say hair more like Cavender's then? Because you've seen Cavender, right?
Yeah.
I'll send it to you again anyway, just so you have more frame of reference.
That was a big lad.
Probably a little more length, but otherwise, yeah, more volume along those lines. So.
Okay. Hell yeah.
So.
Neanderthal gaming.
Right. Yeah. Death clock. Yeah. No, believe me. Like I had a number of people point out. They're just like, God, it's just freaking Nathan.
Yeah, I see it, but it's a good look though.
Is that your Neanderthal discussion?
What?
Is that your Neanderthal discussion, Jake?
Yeah. Why? You have a thing to ask now?
Well, I mean,
do you want me to send you Cavender or?
Do you want to?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? I'll
put
Cavender.
Well, then fucking do it. Don't be a pussy.
What are you talking about? I will gladly show. You just can't sit there. I'm not a fucking mind reader, dog. I'm not a psychic.
Excuse me, you've been my co-host for how long now? You should know exactly what I'm thinking at all times.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like a month.
There's Cavenger. Cavenger man.
Anybody who doesn't know, this is going to be the protagonist of my next fic after Punch Drunk, Between the Lines and Waves, which you can see a poster on the wall there. So delightfully drawn by our artist Vice.
Should I just like enlarge that for a second? Hold up a sec.
I don't know, probably. It looks really small.
Hold up a sec. I gotta remember how I fucking layered this.
I actually have two Cavender pieces. I'll send you the other one. The other one is with him, Angie.
Here we go.
Gotta hit him with the CSI Miami Enhance.
God damn it.
Zoom that thing in.
Wow, that's the wrong thing, Humo.
Shut the fuck up. I'm working on it.
Are you? Because it seems like
yes, I am working on it. I have to drag it up multiple layers so that it's at the right position. You don't understand how this fucking set is held together with glue.
Yeah, you just we're in the void now. We're under the water. We're under the sea.
There we go. Let's shrink it a little bit. There we go. Between the lines and waves.
You just expanded it like a Mario 64 painting.
It's a goal.
All
right, now hopefully it all goes back to what I wanted to. Oh my god, what the fuck?
What are you doing?
That was very scary. But everything is as it should be now.
Oh my god. All right, well, I sent you the other fucking thing for Cavender.
Okay. Give a sec.
Cavender angry.
Just so we're clear here, this whole fucking quote-unquote set is made just purely in OBS, so it's a lot of fucking bullshit just slathered around until it works.
Yeah, it's nightmarish.
In fairness, that could pretty well describe most things that exist.
There's Cavender, big and angry.
Oh, dang.
He looks like he could pick me up and throw me at least a mile.
It looks like he could pick up a truck and throw it down the street.
He's 6'7". So
okay, so he probably could pick up a truck and throw it down the street. All right, cool.
Yeah. How tall is? Did you ever say specifically how tall Obadiah was?
Oh god, I would have to check. I don't think so. I have a weird habit of trying to keep the descriptions of characters like really vague, so people can just kind of fill in the blanks themselves.
Yeah, I give all my characters heights because I'm a height freak.
Fair.
Yeah, Cavender is 6'7". He's a very large boy.
He's a big one. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've got like some fucking like scale sheets, don't you?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, somewhere. Zara's 6'4". She's a tall girl.
Yeah, you have a tall leaning thing. A lot of your characters are tall.
That's untrue. Dorian is only 6'2".
Bah! That is tall. Fuck you.
I'm 6'1".
Yeah, you're tall. Fuck you.
It's funny because I just pulled up my my notes sheet and I have Obadiah as 6 foot. So
damn.
He's tall and yet compared to all of your characters, very short.
I mean, look, I had a character that was going to be 7'4".
Brother starts at 6 foot and goes up from there.
That's untrue. I have 5'11" characters.
Oh wow, 1 inch less. Jeez.
Yeah, the proverbial dwarf.
Human average.
Might as well be a
5'11".
fucking
It's not
ant.
my fault. It's not my fault you're fucking short.
Cross my arms angrily.
Yeah, and you
up.
can't say shit.
No, I
You up 1,000, 5'11" versus 6 foot memes.
Yeah.
I'm just stewing because now everybody's like pointing and laughing at me.
Haha, short. Anyway, all right.
Well, I guess now that we've gotten kind of like the birth of like Love is Colorblind and Tory Game, maybe you could because I have not read either yet because I am planning on reading Love is Colorblind on stream.
I do remember that getting mentioned. Yep.
Yes. So, in order to not to give away too many spoilers, could you give like a little tidbit about what Love is Colorblind is?
It follows Inco and Olivia's eldest, who happens to be a female baryonyx presenting hybrid, and per the implication of the title, she suffers from color blindness, which is unusual in girls generally, but I'd have to check the specific. Let me pull up my notes here. Acromatopsia. So basically, that is where you don't have either mostly or completely the ability to see color. So we're talking like colorblind.
So like just pure like blacks and whites.
It's pretty much you're in grayscale at best, yeah, and that comes with all kinds of other fun things like super light sensitivity and things like that. That's why in the fan art there, she's rocking the sunglasses.
Fair enough.
Just like Pops.
Yeah, it pretty much ended up being I settled on the colorblind thing first, and the fact that she pretty much is obligated to wear sunglasses to not blind herself was an amusing convenience as it landed. That wasn't sunglasses first and then justification after. That was just, oh, well, that worked out nicely.
Happy accidents.
Yeah. But the broad strokes of it is because both of her parents went to St. Hammond's and had such a wonderful time becoming super artists and all that jazz. It was pretty much oh, well, our daughter likes to paint, so we'll just enroll her here. And she has challenges pertaining to her perception on her own art. So that's kind of where the big character drama comes in.
Right.
So it's why am I in art school? My parents are stupid.
All right.
Yeah. This all takes place during freshman year, right?
It does. Yep.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah, everybody pretty well clicks on senior year because everybody's supposed to be mostly enough grown up that.
Yeah, if you want to do some freaky things, you won't have any reservations about it.
Well, obviously there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
When the characters bang, it's not as cringy, but in a more broad sense, when you're talking about character arcs, person in their senior year, Inco aside, because as we've covered, that poor boy is so socially developed that that's literally the point. But generally speaking, you're talking somebody in their senior year, and they've got enough of themselves in place that you can do more complex personal challenges and stories, as opposed to somebody that's fresh in freshman year, and it's literally just out of proverbial diapers for personal journeys kind of a thing. So the challenges there are definitely different.
Yeah, you haven't quite filled into your shoes just yet.
Exactly. It is the very earliest stages of truly figuring out who you are kind of a thing. So.
Okay. And then Tory Game, I mean, like we've kind of already been over, right? It's Inco go to Volcano High and how that plays out, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So what I'm a little curious about is how is that process of dropping Inco into somewhere completely new like that, and then the character interactions that go with that.
So part of the reason why I find Inco fascinating is Anon is as much of an edgy twat as he is, and he is an edgy twat. Anon is a fairly fully developed, self-actualized person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you consider back on like the rooftop scene, stuff like that, where Fang is having her existential crisis on who it is to be Fang or Lucy, and then she asks Anon's opinion, and he's just like, I don't know, I'm me. And it's like, wow, big brain moment from Anon, stellar advice. But it taps into the crux of the issue of, if you ask somebody what makes them them, that's a really weird question, but you could probably get people to kind of narrow down what collates into the individual that they are.
Right.
And Inko does not have any of that. He has had no meaningful friends throughout basically the entire span of his teenager to semi-adult life. His parents are gone. He has virtually no familial interactions. He has a lot of money and a whole lot of loneliness and very little personal perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you dump him in a situation, because one of his shining benefits as a person is he's surprisingly introspective on stuff, it's a new, weird, scary situation, and his first thought is, let me think about that for a second before I open my stupid mouth. And that lets him kind of adapt well. It obviously worked well for him and Wani, where, hey, there's a scary gator girl that I think is kind of neat, and she hates my guts. I wonder why. And obviously that ended up playing out really well for him, and then in Tori game, it's really not that different, because since, unlike Anon, who is an edgy twat, when the whole non-binaryism thing with Fang comes up, he's immediate like, this is stupid. God, what a dumb edgelord teenager this Taro chick is, which is really funny coming from Anon, who's a dumb, edgy teenager. But he's immediately combative of the idea. He doesn't respect it like at all, etc., which is where a lot of the drama of the game comes from. Whereas Inka's just like, oh, okay, they go by them, they, them. That's cool. And then just moves on with his day. And everybody else is like, wait, it was that easy?
Right.
You just respect me. Like, that's it? And Inko's like, yeah, why wouldn't I? So, dropping somebody that's just that cool with how people are in Snoot game is really funny, because every character is primed to deal with Anon, and then when Anon's not the person they're dealing with, it's like, oh, well, I guess we're friends now? That's cool.
Go figure, right?
Yeah, it's just like, hey, when you don't piss everybody off at the drop of a hat, turns out they're not gonna have a problem with you. It's kind of wild.
No kidding.
But, and without getting into too many spoilers, one of the discussion points that the people in the storyboard have been having a blast with is that does really, really weird things with several other characters that are supposed to be antagonists. Like Trish. Trish wanted to try and be friends with Anon. You can tell that when you play the game, when you play Snoot game, you have those first interactions, and she is fairly open, smiles and stuff like that. There's obviously her general guarded behavior because a new person, but like, she's smiley, she's generally open, and then Anon is just a douche. And she goes, oh, we're doing that then, and then she turns into, the game's primary antagonist after that, which isn't justified, but it's not hard to see how you get there. And then you end up in a similar situation with Ripley, where he's just like, oh, cool, we have this skinny from Skin Row who is poor, grubby, smells kind of funny, and also he's trying to make the moves on my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bury him in the golf field. And then you take somebody like Inko, where he's really generally accepting, innocent, like a big, stupid golden Labrador retriever, and broadly doesn't actually have a malicious bone in his body. And you put him up against somebody like Ripley, and Ripley's not going to know what to do with that. And it's really funny to think about. Because it's like, we were having a conversation where it's like, one of the big things that Rip has in his arsenal is he's a cop, and he puts on this big air of like, oh, you said literally anything I don't like, you're going to go down to the station. But like, Inko's the kind of guy that has full faith in the system of society. And we were joking about how he'd just be like, well, you can't do that. That's not allowed. And like,
That's against the rules,
what do you
actually.
say to that as like not an actually corrupt cop? It's just like, dang it, there goes my entire bloody idea.
Well, shit, you're
He
right,
called my
kid.
bluff.
Sorry.
Shit.
They called my bluff. What do I do now?
Well, I guess it's time to get the golf club.
Yeah, but and that's the thing. It's like we know that Rip doesn't actually want to like beat people stupid or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a front. And so Inco being dumb and naive enough and like just trusting in people that he meets, honestly, often to a fault, as we see with the more downsides in Wani, with him trying to see the best in Mia, even though she sucks. But you run into a character like Rip, and he's just like, I don't know what this guy's deal is, but you know, like he can't do that, so he won't. And then it's just like, oh well, crap. We'll have to come up with a different plan. And so Inko's just a really interesting character because he's got that bit of well-intentioned naivety and willing to just adapt to things around him because he's so hungry for social contacts.
He's a bit of a silly boy.
Yeah, he is a very silly boy.
Yeah, I because we've talked about the concept in our Discord a little bit from time to time about like dropping other characters and different stuff. I'm gonna be honest, it completely slipped my mind that like Anon is really just a fucking asshole, and that's what causes a lot of the tension in Snoot, and the fact that Inco would just be like, "Hi, it's me."
Yeah, Naomi is another beautiful example where like that guy does not notice that Naomi is the fakest person in the state. Just at all. She's just like, hi, I'm going to be your best friend. And Inco's like, yes, I have friends now.
Hooray!
As opposed to Anon, who's immediately like, this chick's faker than plastic. And then just becomes an absolute douche to her. And it's half justified, but that's where a lot of the friction comes from. Inco's, though, is like, yes, day one and I have friends. Like, this guy, man.
People are talking about putting D in everything, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do that.
Just random bonus chapters.
Oh no, all right. I have to confess something. Have I talked about Blizzard on stream yet? I think I have, right?
I've mentioned it. I don't think you've actually mentioned it on stream.
Have I not?
I don't think so.
All right, well, after fucking Between the Lines and Waves, I'm writing a D goes to Volcano High thing, except it's not going to be with Fang. It's going to be with Judy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then on will still be there. They'll still be present.
Makes sense.
Skinny Dino double date.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Yeah.
I suspect it will not be able to be a double date.
I'm very afraid of what this means. Jake like causing harm.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, fuck me. I really need to get through the ones that we're reading currently so I can get to your other fucking things. Ugh, because they sound good as shit, man.
Hey, yeah. You'll like Love is Colorblind. I know you will.
Yeah, like that. I my perspective on my own written works is weird because, you know, you get your good old classic dash of I made it, therefore I have to hate it.
Of course.
But like, I've had several people say they like Love is Colorblind more than Noted, and that's cool and wild to me because obviously it's all a completely new stack of characters and events and stuff like that. So hey, you know what? That's cool. I have no complaints. So if you like Noted, though, I suspect you'll enjoy Love is Colorblind well enough.
Vibrates happily. I guess that's pretty good roll into the overall just reception of the work you've been doing. Obviously, we've touched on a little bit here and there throughout this interview, but yeah, it seems like the general consensus is you make some good shit. How's that been for you?
Very weird. Like I said, it pretty much outside of some story stuff posted on the Reddit serials subreddit and stuff like that, never done any real major writing projects. So basically coming in here into a random community that seems small if tightly knit, and then just on a whim one day when people are posting brain damaged Olivia memes, decide to crank out 85,000 words because I'm stupid. And it's just now suddenly people are making memes about stuff about the stuff I write, and anytime story recommendations come up in the Discord and stuff, it gets a mention. I get people like Receiver K doing callouts, and that's freaky. And it's just like, I'm really jazzed that people are enjoying it more than anything. But God, it's a bizarre experience.
Can be a little
Yeah,
stunning sometimes.
I mean, most of my attention for my shit just comes from Humo's Discord because I'm not really that active on Snoot Club. You know, you see me in there
fair.
lurking sometimes.
Periodically,
But
yeah.
Even there, I see people talking about Punch Drunk sometimes, and every time I do, I'm just like, what the fuck? Hello?
Yep. It does get brought up, so it's pretty neat, yeah.
And I'm just like, what? I mean, I've got the thread there now too, and obviously that pops off sometimes. People are in there like being like, yeah, this shit is soulful, and I'm like, okay, dude, whatever you say, man. I'm just over here putting words on a page.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, this community has that effect, that's for sure. I mean, I'm
Yes,
just kind of
very
I'm kind of the funny read man, but even then, I saw.
Oh, believe me, when somebody was like, dude, somebody read like Inco Noted, I'm like, yeah, people do that, and it's like, shut up. No, they did it on YouTube, and I'm like, what?
8-hour cut.
The link gets dropped, and oh god, it's some guy, and he did an 8-hour stream reading my story. What is happening? This world is weird. What is this timeline?
It's a weird but good world.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, this is deeply flattering, and I'm freaked out by it.
Yeah, I think I ended up like peeping over at Snoot Club, and I saw that you had seen that, and you're like, whoa, what the hell? And I was like,
yeah,
yay.
But, like, and obviously you used it in the splash art for the story, but some of the first art that anybody did for Inco Noted was the art that you used, and I feel terrible because I'm terrible with names, but the artist that did that, yeah, okay. And it's like somebody had linked that, and I'm like, what is happening? Who would spend time on making a delightful series of pictures? Not even just one, like a bunch of pictures on the crap that I wrote. God, this is bizarre.
Vice is, look, you want to know what my first piece of Punch Drunk fan art was
boy.
from? It was from Vice.
It was.
And that is now currently the cover art of Punch Drunk. That piece that Vice did because it's just so fucking beautiful.
Yeah. It's the premise of having fan art made is just weird on its own. I get it, and like obviously this community is horrifyingly creative and talented, but like, why my stuff?
Look, man, you got fans. It's time to accept it. I have, bro.
Yeah.
I get Dorian art in fucking Humo's server. Like, I don't know, at least
it happens
once
a
week. Once a week at least. And every time I do, I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah, and I've already got a couple of people that have started poking me to do up, because to bring it back to Bonds, the ultimate progenitor of all Snoot works, obviously. And Starman had done a physical copy run. I don't know if he still does it, but a couple of people have an actual printed copy of Bonds, and it's signed, and they treat it like it's a Dragon treasure hoard piece, which
that's fucking crazy.
It's fair. But now they started like poking me about doing a printed physical release for Noted and Love is Colorblind. I'm like, I guess I'll do that.
Work? Doesn't that cost money?
There are services where you obviously you've got to do all the formatting and crap to get it put together, but you pretty much just hand them off the files, and then they print out X number of books, and the more books that you print, the cheaper each one gets.
Yeah.
And then after that, you pretty much would deal with the shipping and sending out to whoever ordered it yourself. So that's probably going to be a thing in the future.
All right. Well, somebody just brought up printed physical releases of Punch Drunk in the chat, and now I'm horrified.
You got to finish it first.
Yeah, no shit.
You could buy time. You're just like, oh man, chapter 24, so crazy.
Guys. Yeah. Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to start Bloody Blizzard now. Sorry.
Bloody Blizzard. What about Between Waves?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, fuck, I can't start that. I'm not done with Punch Drunk yet.
Yeah. And it sounds like Jake is pretty much the same way as me, where it's like you work on the one thing.
Yeah.
I have the utmost respect for people whose brains are wired to be able to work on more than one thing at a time. Because you got some people that they're cranking out like 5 fics at a time, and it's just like God, my brain just folds on itself at the very idea of that.
Oh, I tried doing that. I tried my fic before Punch Drunk was I want to marry that gator, which was which was an epilogue continuation, not an epilogue continuation. It was a straight up E4 continuation. It continues right after E4 ends.
Gotcha.
And I'm not very good at writing Inco because I don't like him very much. So I had stopped it. Well, I had started working on Punch Drunk while I was writing I Want to Marry That Gator.
Right, you had mentioned that you just kind of hit a point where you got sick of Inco existing and then quit.
Yes.
And worked on your own character, which is like fair.
I'll go back to it at one point, especially since you've given me some insights on how to fucking work with Inco. Just treat him like a golden retriever.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people ask me for my input on like how to write Inco, and I'm just like, this, I guess, because like I said when we got going on how I approach the characters, part of it is I just like soaked it into my brain, and now it's just kind of there permanently, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
So trying to distill that out into like advice, I'm like, oh god, I hope I don't mess this up.
You've definitely given me some insights, and Wani Mary will be finished one day. Cool. I mean, to those, I know I've got Wani Mary fans in the chat right now, and I'll say the next chapter I left it's halfway done, like it's got substance to it. So someday something might happen. I will have to make minor edits to it though, knowing information that I do now.
See, okay, that's another thing that I'm curious about, because obviously my brain is my brain, and I got no frame of reference on how other people actually approach this stuff. How do you deal with because you said you're a stream of consciousness writer as well. Uh-huh. How do you approach the editing process?
I actually have proofreaders. So whenever I'm done writing shit, I'd have a couple of people that I'll send shit to and be like, hey, does this read good?
Okay, that's fascinating to me, because, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. You've heard me talk. I hate everything that I make. Like I've had a couple of people offer to proofread my stuff, and it feels weird to me. And it's not from any place of maliciousness on their part, but I'm just like, oh god, I don't want people to see this or mess with it. I just want to write it and then post the stupid thing.
With me, my proofreaders, they're not even related to the Snoot community. They're people I know completely separate from it. So
fair.
There's that separation where they don't have any bias towards anything, and they're just like, hey, this is written good.
Fair enough. That's fair. And again, I'm definitely not saying like the people that have offered would do a bad job. Definitely freaking not. But there's just something weird in my brain where it's just like, part of it I think is I don't want to wait. I don't like having a tool chain, I guess. Because like I said, I sit down, I write the bloody thing in 1 or 2 massive goes, and then I spend like an hour, 2 hours proofreading through it, and then I post the thing. And bringing other people into the mix would add a lot of additional playtime. And again, not tooting my own horn, but god, I don't have to fix that much stuff when I do a read back through, which itself is just weird. But
what I actually do in regards to that, I do give it to proofreaders, but I also proofread it myself. So what I usually do is I proofread it myself, and then I post it, and I give it to somebody else to proofread it, and then I'll go back and fix shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
that's
how I usually operate.
Pretty much just to catch the occasional whoops, more or less, then.
Yeah, and I was reading through fucking one of my old chapters, and I found an error, and it's like a chapter 12 or some shit. Not 12. It's one of the chapters. And I was just like, what? How did I miss this? How did my proofreaders miss this? What the fuck is this?
No, but I get that one completely. Obviously, I don't have other people to loop in on the responsibility chain, but I've definitely... It's funny because, like I said, apparently I end up doing a pretty decent job with the proofreading on my own, which is good. But I think I've had across all my stories so far, I think I've had people point out 6 or 7 errors. So pretty respectable hit rate for 250,000 words. But it's one of those things where I've definitely noticed a number of errors rereading back through, and I'm like, God, that's pathetic. Also, how has nobody noticed
Yeah.
Like, I've got 10,000 hits on Inco Noted, and nobody complained about that. Well, that's nice of them to just ignore my horrific mistake. Let me go fix that real quick.
Yeah, I'm actually fixing that error I just talked about right now because I was like, I started thinking about it again and it pissed me off. So,
Yeah,
all
I
right,
mean,
that's fixed
Fair
now.
enough. Yeah, fair enough.
when it
fair
comes to
enough.
stuff like that, it's easy as a reader just to like glance over that and be either you like
Your brain
subconsciously
autocorrects
note
shit.
it. Yeah,
Oh yeah, it does.
you're just like,
Well,
oh,
I
okay,
mean,
whatever.
that's the entire reason you got proofreaders in the first place, is because your brain's just like, of course I wrote perfectly. I know exactly what I was putting onto the paper. And then the proofreader's like, dude, you had 200 spelling errors. I'm like, oh, my brain's dumb.
Oopsie.
Or I just used a completely fucking different word. Like, oh, it was supposed to be glasses and I wrote classes. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Hello?
I love it whenever
Or
I'm
when
writing.
when you have an idea halfway through a sentence and then change the sentence, and then
Oh,
the whole
yeah.
sentence is just horrifying now, and you're like, how'd that get past anything? Anybody? That's awful.
Brain accidentally does a fucking two sentence splice and you end up with a fucking
Yeah.
abomination.
I just like writing sentences like this meatloaf fucking kicks ass. Sorry. Picked out a random line and I liked it.
No,
Yeah.
I mean it got. I'm not gonna lie. When was linked the reading of Noted. Not gonna lie. First thing I did is skipped to like, 2/3 of the way through the story, and I hunted down my favorite line in the entire story, which is when he slaps Mia.
I did like
I
that
am
moment.
even now proud of that line of the whole. I may not be able to talk, you dumb bitch, but I can put 5 across your face easy enough.
It's a good one.
Oh god, I wrote that line. I was so excited for myself.
I have some real banger lines in there too.
Yeah, and then one of the other bits that I enjoy that's kind of a running joke generally, but it's the whole first rude, second fair enough. There's something so human about that kind of response to being told something unpleasant.
Yeah, it really is.
But yeah, no, I completely vibe with you that there's just sometimes you just look at a line and you go, I did good work today.
Uh-huh. I have a lot of those. Here's a question regarding titles, because I noticed you don't use title names. You just go
Nope.
chapter. Is there any reason behind that, or you just can't be fucked to come up with title names? Or chapter names?
I think it's a combination of I can't be bothered, and also I feel like if I was going to do chapter titles, they would have to be very meaningful to like
Fair enough.
want to draw the attention to it. For Ghost in the Snoot, that's been something that I've actually been brainstorming on, because since that has the entire premise of trying to fix canon E1 and Snoot game comes with a whole ton of emotional baggage. That feels like that's probably the place where I would step in and start doing titles, because I could use like song references to infer the emotional bandwidth of the chapter, and I feel like that'd personally be something I could be contented with. But broadly, I don't know. For me, some people do absolute banger chapter titles, and you look at that, you read that, and you go, okay, we're gonna be in for a ride. But
I like to
generally,
think I'm one of them.
well, I'll find out when I start actually reading it. So
I mean, Humo, my fucking chapter titles have been pretty banger, right? Fucking speak up right now. Don't you FaceTime.
Yeah, man.
Fuck you.
Your title's been good,
very
dude.
committal.
Can't leave me hanging like that.
Well, it's comedic timing, brother.
It's painful timing.
For you.
It could be both.
Did you just bane me? For you.
Something bane of your existence.
Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, all right. This really is a bloody knuckled interlude moment.
Which one? 3, 4?
4, man. I just got raked across the chest with claws, dog.
What was the fucking Greek again?
Excaretico.
Yeah, that.
Excaretico. It's just Greek for fuck. What was it?
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah, it's Greek for excellent. Excaretico.
Nice.
See, the one thing that fucking sucks about reading fics is when somebody decides, I'm going to use a different language, and you sit there as like the fucking dude reading this out loud, and you're like, oh, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, because obviously you've been chipping your way through None in the Chamber. I feel bad for you.
I know, it's funny. So bad, man. I'm like, it was good up in the beginning, right? I was like, oh, okay, well, we got like Rosa saying a couple things, and we're going to her family's house, and they all speak Spanish. Fuck.
And then once you get into the later chapters, a non starts speaking Spanish. You're like, it's game over. We're done. We're out. We can't do this anymore.
Oh yeah, that happens, by the way.
Look, I've already gotten to the point where I know I'm gonna get fucking executed in the streets if I walk into Mexico at this point. Like, I'm just trying to lessen the blow, so to speak. So
it is a fic that I have Google Translate open in a second tab, just so it's like, oh god, Rosa's going again. Hold on, gotta copy the line over.
Robots, tell me what she's saying.
El burro sabe más que tú.
And then fucking Jake, obviously, he puts one word in Greek in the fucking fic, and I'm going through, I'm doing fine so far. I hit that, and I'm like, there goes all the momentum. I gotta go.
It was just a single word.
Yeah, but it's a word that like I look at and there's like I don't know how to even approach this. I don't recognize these runes.
You're cruising along at a nice 50-mile-an-hour clip, and suddenly there's a bollard in the middle of the street. And
yeah,
just your car.
Todos los días.
Car wraps around it. Like Spanish is one thing, right? You can kind of like look at it and kind of sound it out, but the fucking Greek was like I'm looking at alien runes, right? I don't know what the fuck. How do you pronounce that?
Watching you try to read Finnish is even funnier.
I don't want to talk about the Finnish.
Or Russian.
I can't wait until you read Bloody Blizzard.
I'm not gonna read it.
Oh dang.
Yeah,
or Russian. Because at least with Finnish, even if your pronunciation is going to be objectively wrong 18 times over, at least there's a number of like letters in there that you're like, I recognize that. Yeah. I know what letter that is.
I can butcher this language.
You bring the Syriac alphabet in. It's just like, is that an A? No. Why would that be an A?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was oh man, what was it? Fucking Mod Jam 2, the demo for the Puppet Origins.
Oh,
we were going through that, and like I'm butchering the fucking the moon runes, right? I'm trying my best to get through it, and there's one point where fucking Russian just appears, and I'm like, use the in-game scanner or like the in-game like line reader, and it just looks at me and it doesn't say anything. I'm like, you too, huh? Are they gonna fuck me over like this? Oh.
Yeah. Funny man butcher language make me laugh.
Right.
Make me cringe. I don't like it.
And it ties even the failures. It ties back into something that I've given some advice to in the we're gonna stop. I'm gonna walk that sentence back and try that one again. It ties back into what I've given some advice as in the Snoot Club, where one, remember you're doing this for yourself before anything else, and two, core purpose is to provide entertainment. So as long as somebody's enjoying what you're putting out, doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. And so if you're in there in stream and you're doing literal war crimes on the language, if people are laughing, then you've objectively won, so whatever.
True.
And
that's what I tell them.
I know damn well my community likes to watch me fucking squirm.
See, exactly. So,
yeah, dog.
Something public debasement for entertainment.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
I'm here to reach over and honk your little clown nose sometimes.
You love honking it, don't you?
What? Why you say it like that?
Because you do. You reach over, you smack the streamer, you say, haha, streamer, you did the thing. And then I have to fight back, and then the guests will be like, man, there's a lover dispute happening right now.
Well, somebody already called you the wife again.
I know, and I'm...
Go get me a beer, bitch.
Knocked over my fucking water bottle.
That's what you fucking
Don't talk to me.
Throwing a fit.
Get invited over to a nice barbecue, and then the husband and wife start arguing. You're like, do I just leave, or do I wait it out?
That's fine. The day I grab the shovel off over the mantle is the day you should leave, probably.
You won't be able to catch me. I'm quick. I'm small.
Okay, and my strides are longer than yours.
Yeah. Anyways. we're coming up on the end of like the prepared questions here. So anybody in chat, if you want to start getting your little fucking funny questions organized and ready to rip, we got one more though, and this is one I've been trying to ask a bit. Starting with the Megalomania, Wolf Serenity, Creator Spotlight. Is there anyone in particular you would like to see on the spotlight and see their brain picked apart?
I think obviously I really like his work and it ended up directly spawning my most recent one. But Receiver K has proven to be a really cool dude, just generally from what I've seen. And I'm gonna preface as I open my stupid mouth and give an opinion. I haven't seen the other creator spotlights, so I don't know who else has been on this so far.
Yeah, we've had Jake, Vise, and then some dev projects. So we had Roach for Hold On to Me, Wolf Serenity for Megalomania, and then a couple of the fellas from
Snoot Encore.
Snoot Encore.
Ah, very neat. So yeah, I guess I would say if I had a random pick suggestion, trying to get Receiver on here would be pretty neat because that dude lays out
I would like that.
An absolute banger story. So
yeah,
and when he's done with the bonus chapters, apparently he's got something else planned.
I can't wait to see.
Yeah, he made a mention because obviously he's done some callouts for my work, which is scary, but whatever. But he said that like Love is Colorblind may provide some level of inspiration for whatever he's got going next, which is also scary. So I'm jazzed to see where he takes things. So, but yeah, I guess that would be my offhand, immediately off the top of my head pick.
Okay. I'll tuck that one in the back of my pocket and see about getting that networked up then. But yeah, that's all the prepared questions here. I'm shaking the bag and nothing else is coming out. So, chat, do your thing. Ask a funny thing. Jake, I need to be right back. I need you to take over for a minute.
Yeah, go take your pee or whatever you're doing, dog. Anyway, it's just me now. Hello, everybody. Chat, roll them questions in. Bond, you don't have to go get Receiver K. We can do it by ourselves, probably. I'm in Snoot. Is he even on fucking? Is he in Snoot Club?
No, as far as I know, he showed up, created a storyboard thread, dropped in Wani Kiss, and then quit.
All right. Well, I could message him myself.
Dude knew exactly what he wanted to do that day, and then committed. So I mean, respect. I had to go. When I wanted to ask about Tory Game, I had to go hunt him, do a response to one of his updates in Wani Kiss to even talk to him.
All right. Well, I could probably pull something out on AoE 3.
I do have a little bit of clout there, after all.
No, I don't. Not at all. Anyway, first question from Flippo Possum. Would Tory Game be having bonus chapters? And I think this is a question you answered already.
Yeah, I would probably not do bonus chapters. It's not off of the table, but my personal inclination is to just do the story that I was planning on telling and then get out. So, not saying it's impossible, just not planned.
If you get a wild hair up your ass, maybe, but no, otherwise not.
Kinda, yeah.
Right, gotcha. We got one from New Cakes. How's the next chapter of Tory Game coming along? I know you also answered this one already.
Yep, I'm about halfway there. I think it's at, 5,700 words, so.
Hell yeah.
There you go. Pretty much as soon as we're done here, I'm going to get back to writing, so.
And you said tentatively tomorrow.
That would be the notion, yep.
All right, then. There's your answer. We got one from Jack Pass 2012. Hey, Arlock, you play a ton of games. What is the most jank, unfinished game you've played?
That's a very terrifying. I actually have not played Goodbye Volcano High.
I would not recommend it.
It's one of those I feel like I have to at this point because I've gotten myself so far into this community on the projects and stuff that it feels like it's a necessary evil. But I also don't want to dish out $30 for such a relatively limited VN when I'm pretty much doing it entirely for what did they do wrong from a storytelling perspective.
Well, I'm not I'm not saying anybody has. You don't have to go buy it. That's all I'll say live on
I,
air.
I, as somebody that has inclinations towards getting into the game development space, I try and avoid that and dish out the cash to the people that
You know
have
what?
put in the work.
I don't blame you. That's
Yeah.
fair. In that case, go watch Humo. He fucking played it all on stream.
Fair enough.
He had a good time.
And like I'd said a while back, that was a very convincing sigh for how much fun you had. Let me say that. But everything that I have seen for Goodbye Volcano High is that it is not a bad idea, and there was a lot of heart and soul, but the execution was bad.
Terrible.
And it's one of those things where it ties back to what I had said a while back with one of the other questions. I have a deep respect for anybody that gets something out there. It does not matter if it sucks as the worst thing ever written. My Immortal is a freaking treasure of the internet, because as hideously awful of a writing project as that fanfic is, regardless of whether you follow the conspiracy theories it was a giant joke project or not, objectively, somebody wrote that and it has entertained millions of people, and I've got to respect that.
I mean, yeah, fair. That's the based opinion, I guess. Based alert. Wooey, wooey.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
but tying back to the original inquiry, that's a really difficult one because I like playing weird indie games, and let me tell you, man, there's some broken ones.
Oh boy.
Because I don't want to go too deep in on the most jank, because frankly there's just games that are broken and non-functional, and that feels like that's cheating.
What's the one that jumps to your mind immediately?
One of the ones that I love going back to very on the regular that is also super janktacular would be the Stalker franchise.
Oh boy.
Yes.
And I love the piss out of the Stalker games, but they are jank.
They are.
That is some
jank.
peak slab jank right there.
Yeah, we all love Stalker. All right, we got one from the evil Artiv.
Pause.
Huh?
Have you played Anomaly and Gamma?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
All right, fucking nerds.
Shut up.
Anyway, I got one from Artiv. I know nothing about Ghosts in the Snoot, and I'm too lazy to read the thread in the Snoot Club. Can we get some sneak peek or something from Arlock?
I guess, what do we anticipate as sneak peek here?
I don't know, man. Just say something that you think will make the monkey clap his hands. It's not easy. It's not hard to please Artiv.
So as I've already covered, it is a intent to make a happy conclusion to canon E1, which sounds literally impossible, which is part of why it's compelling. But yeah, it's pretty much boils down to Fang is super deadtacular and comes back as a ghost basically right at the close-off point for E1 when Anon's in the graveyard being miserable and sad. And she is distance tethered to him, so there's literally no escape. They're stuck just dealing with each other. And it pretty much gets to be a broad emotional roller coaster as they both think that they're nuts because Fang doesn't think she's dead. It's just a weird dream, and Anon thinks that he has absolutely mentally broken, and he's hallucinating his dead girlfriend. And then from there, pretty much as things even out and they start trying to be better people, it pretty much turns into a combination, as far as the cooking sessions have led into, a combination of horrific gut-wrenching emotional moments and really, really dumb fluffy bits. So
I'm looking forward to this so fucking much you don't understand.
It, like, one of the things that we latched onto conceptually pretty early on is she's got some poltergeist capabilities of being able to manipulate things physically.
Oh my god, ghost wife.
But it comes with the caveat that since part of her whole shindig of being tethered to Anon is a redemption arc and trying to make up all the harm that she's caused, she's stuck with Anon, and part of the way that she recharges her ghostly powers is being in physical contact with Anon. So literally she is compelled to do snuggles and handholds and stuff like that to juice up her ghost powers again. And we were having a grand old time with coming up with dumb crap like that. So
that's so wonderful. I can't wait to read this. Please finish Tory Game.
That's where the sentiment has lied. It's like, I love Tory Game, it's really good, but if you could just be done with it already and we could do Ghost in the Snoot, that'd be great.
This sounds so fucking wonderful. Ghost. Somebody in chat hopefully says ghost job. Woo woo.
And that is where the one running joke has come in. So
Lovely. All right, there you
Is
go.
that like a big power boost?
Shut the fuck up. Oh boy, ectoplasm, me baby.
right.
All right, let's see. Out of every, we got one from Kevin here, who is a very good artist, and he's asking this as a threat. I can already tell. Out of everything you've written, what scene/chapter would you like to see visualized? And this is a threat and a promise.
Oh no.
He will
That
do
one's-
it. So choose carefully.
Oh god, that's a tricky one. Jeez. I guess if there was one bit that really stood out as a powerful moment when I was writing it, it would probably be and I'm gonna keep things relatively loose since obviously
Cover your ears, Humo.
Humo hasn't read it, but I'd say the alley encounter.
Oh, please! I need to see this.
Because that bit, believe me, that popped in my head early. I told literally nobody about it in the storyboard, and I just sat on that for a couple of chapters. And the second I got to it, I'm like, all right, here we freaking go. We're gonna have a roller coaster.
Oh my god, I would fucking love to see the alleyway scene so goddamn bad.
Yeah, that was the one where it, because that had stuck into my head as a part of what kind of it's never been a big complaint because obviously as we've covered people like my pacing generally, but I've had a couple people make the critique that things felt a little too smooth in Noted, which is an entirely fair perspective. So the alley scene was definitely a spot where it was not going to be that easy in Love is Colorful. So,
oh boy. Hey, how familiar are you with writing fight scenes, just generally, by the way? Was that your first time?
no, but it was probably the most in depth. So
You'll like Punch Drunk then.
no, I had no doubt of. So
Me likey fighty scene.
Really?
well written fighting scenes are definitely dope. So
Smile.
I'm just glad that it seemed to click for people when I wrote it because I'm like,
I loved it, dog.
Given
I love
my
big motherfuckers doing big motherfucker shit.
you're right.
given Jake's reaction, I gotta assume that this is gonna pop off pretty freaking hard.
I mean, I'd like
Yes.
to think so, but
Yes, real good. All right, let's see. Sorry, I was thinking about the alleyway scene again, and it distracted me. All right, Swiftwind asks, other than pacing, is there anything you do differently for Inco Noted?
that's a pretty open question.
That is pretty open, yeah.
Anything I do differently?
Other than pacing.
I think the only thing that is a fairly consistent bit of critique, and it's weird because I don't get much. I don't want to say negative feedback, but there hasn't actually been nearly as much critiques or pushback on how I do storytelling than I honestly had anticipated. But the one that does seem to be a consistent one is a little bit more time on the Inco and Olivia reconciliation conversation. I feel that wasn't paced badly, but I get what people say when that felt like that was a little too smooth because both parties are kind of have a lot of baggage, and it's not that I think I did it wrong so much as I feel I did not convey it as cleanly as Olivia is willing to hand wave literally everything because she has latched onto the pains as the primary issue and basically made herself to be the bad guy. So she is happy at that point to throw everything to the wind to be with Inco, and that's really scary to Inco for obvious bloody reasons. So the justification, in my opinion, was there, but the fact that so many people felt that that didn't quite click means I probably could have executed that a little better, I would say. But I don't think I did it like awfully, and I don't think it's in a bad enough place that I have to go back and like fix it or anything, I guess.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We've got a question from Pints. I am legally contracted to ask this every creator spotlight. How do you feel about Carr from Garn 47?
Yeah.
Wait. Who?
Yeah, you see, you see. Okay, look on the shelf above you. You see that little strange little cat creature
Car.
behind the. Oh
Oh,
my! Oh, there he is.
I
Jesus
am
Christ!
I am moderately hip to the kids and what they do on the internets, and I've seen that pop up, but I haven't bothered committing effort in figuring out what it's from.
It's just
So
a strange little beast from a strange little thing.
We love
yeah,
car.
which is kind of the impression I got. So I am ambiently aware of it, but otherwise don't hold a strong opinion because I haven't bothered looking into it.
Valid.
So
Jake, did you hate car?
Do I hate car? Why would you think that?
Somebody said they hated car, and it pissed me off really bad on one of these.
I think maybe said it to get a rise out of you, but otherwise, no, I don't hate car.
Okay.
I'd pick him up by his little earring and sling him around.
Yeah, but you would do that with like a lot
I
of
think the
characters.
design is endearing in that classically uncanny way from ye olde graphics from games and stuff. So
I don't know. I'm gonna ask this one, even though I probably shouldn't. Can you ask Humo to do Fang again?
No,
Having him say nice cock?
no, I'm not doing it. Next question.
All right. You guys listen to music from Comical Ken. You guys listen to music as you work, or do you like complete silence? If yes to music, what do you find yourselves jamming to, and does it depend on the scene you're writing?
Broadly, I actually have found myself writing in silence, which makes me sound like a psychopath, but that's fine. There have definitely been bits where I popped on the playlist, but when I say playlist, it's pretty much a smorgasbord of songs that make brain feel good in YouTube Music in a general playlist, and then when that runs out, I just let it do the auto picker. So the selection gets pretty
Eclectic.
all over the place. Yeah, eclectic is a good way to put it. So I have done that for a couple of particular scenes. Pull up my phone here so I can consult the one that had earwormed the crap out of me when I was doing, amusingly, the alley scene. So that was Gasoline by Prevail. So that kind of earwormed me while I was doing the fight sequence for all that jazz. But otherwise, it's kind of an all over the place sort of vibe on what I stick in the list. Because I'm cool with anime songs. I'm cool with basically the only music I broadly don't listen to is I don't listen to much rap, and then country's basically full stop off of the list.
Damn, not even classic country?
Like I don't have a problem with classic country, but it's not something that
you wouldn't seek it out, but you'd listen to it if it was on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say I do have Johnny Cash's "Hurt" on the playlist.
Oh, that's a fucking
that's not
banger.
technically country, but
no, it's just a cover. But yeah.
Hey, even Kurt said that that's the real version at this point. So
fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty broad music. But I would say most of the time writing in silence, but every now and again I'm vibing a particular mood, and I will tune into some songs to help convey that.
I've made my ties with music into my writing known already several times.
Mm-hmm.
He has links in it.
Yeah, my Punch Drunk has like actual links in it to tracks that you're supposed to listen to while you read.
I did do that one whole time so far with Inco Noted, where I just linked to the I Dream of Dance for the dance sequence. So that's cheating, but I mean, I get the premise. So
a lot.
Fair enough.
Mostly for fight scenes,
which makes sense. You gotta have the backing track.
But there are some other moments, like Humo's about to get to one soon.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's that. Let's see. Hey, Areloch, and Inco Noted, what made you write Randy Payne is the most level-headed character by Jack Pass 2012?
It helped the fact that he was pretty much always the most level-headed character.
Mm-hmm. Good old Hank Dad.
He definitely stepped up, and the running joke in the story was obviously Saint Randy, and I think he earned that over the course of the journey.
Oh, we love Randy.
But oh god, the Randy's the best. But like even in the fact that even in E1, when everything is falling apart and his family is literally imploding in front of his eyes, and the angriest he gets is just, maybe you should leave for the night. It's like, that is the most solid dude in the entire city.
I give Randy the fucking love he deserves in Punch Drunk. I'll tell you that right now.
Awesome. Very awesome.
But yeah, I tell you what, that boy ain't right.
Yeah. Obviously he was inspired. It's pretty easy to tell that he had some Hank Hill inspirations, but
for
like
real.
it works. It works.
It
It really
works.
does.
It's like Hank Hill if Hank Hill wasn't as much of a dipshit as he was.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
But anyway, we've got Caro Soleri here. What time does Arlock set up for writing in both work days and free days? Is it just to sit down and do when he has the time?
Pretty much, yeah. Because
There you
due to the fact that it's very stream of consciousness, I don't have to do too much to like amp myself up. It's just kind of I've got a chunk of time that I could dedicate to this, and then I sit down and I just start putting words into it. So basically boils down to just whatever time provides convenient for a sizable block to work on.
Whatever night you're up and can't sleep.
Yeah. Thankfully, that has been less of an issue in the recent stint, and I'm trying to keep it that way. I avoid. Yeah, I avoid trying to start writing at 2 a.m. It's pretty good angle. I think it's been working well for me. So.
Yeah, I should probably start doing that too. But I'm in the phase of my writer's block where I write a single sentence and then I'm like, "Woo, I'm pooped."
Yeah.
Dust your hands off. All right. Good job out there. Good hustle.
What a chapter, Captain! It was only a sentence.
Yeah, I have been very, very, very lucky to not have major writer's block on any of this. It's pretty much just been even when I'm like I'm gonna write a little bit and then I'll come back to it later instead of one of my normal I write for like a solid hour or two in a chunk. Since I write fast, even if I'm just like I'll just crack out the opening bit to just get something in the document, and then I look and it's like 700 words and it's like, oh, okay, that's not bad. So.
Yeah. We've got one from Water Lemonade.
Tugs your arm real quick.
Huh?
I got one from Twitch.
Okay.
We got Vise on Twitch. Do you have any major influences when it comes down to your writing style? Are there any themes you like to explore?
No, not really, I guess. Which, that may just be a horrific failure of self-reflection. It could be that somebody could actually read my stuff and be like, obviously it's this. But I don't really set out for anything like that, really. It's pretty much generally you have the principal setup of the story, you've got how the characters are, and then it's pretty much just, okay, we're going. What would the character do in this situation to get there? So, other than wanting to explore a particular character, act, or expression, it's generally just kind of going by the seat of the pants. Like, obviously, with Love is Colorblind, you have the entire thing being Sayla's whole shindig with trying to contend being an artist while also being colorblind, because obviously that's just going to be a delightful time with no roadblocks.
Mm-hmm.
So that came with natural baggage that was obvious to explore. So that style seems to work pretty well for me. As far as influences go, I was really big on reading a lot of crap when I was younger. I've read less in terms of stories as I got older, but obviously I shifted up into video games for everything. So I'm still obviously experiencing tons of different stories and narratives.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that I've got a specific influence so much as just a huge collage of all the crap that I've consumed over the years. I know I've had a couple people comment that the writing seems like insert blank, and it's probably not wrong, but I would not be able to point to a specific thing that influenced my style or preference or anything like that.
Right, it's more subconscious sways than it is anything intentional.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
All right then. Hell yeah! All right, now it's actually. Oh my god!
What did you do?
My soda can fell over. Kind of a double one. Well, let me ask this Water Lemonade here. Kind of a double one, but how would you describe the protagonist of both games, Snoot game / Wani, and what small change could have the most impact in terms of history?
So we did touch on this a little bit prior, but I think the most important distinction between the two is the fact that Anon is pretty much a whole person, if a tool. at the point that Snoot game happens. So he can act as a fair grounding point for the love interest, who's obviously the principal modus for the story to advance. So Fang has no freaking idea who she is, so that's her personal character journey. So she can soundboard off of the relatively concrete Anon, and Anon's growth is mostly just freaking getting some bloody empathy and learning how to act like an actual adult. So, but he doesn't have to go nearly as far in his personal journey to get from point A to point B. And I have a strong suspicion that, because a lot of people have said that they have found Anon way more relatable than Inco, and a lot of the justifications given for that is obviously most people aren't able to spend $600 on socks like Inco can, and other fun things like that. And then Anon's obviously of the internet and kind of edgy and all that jazz, but I have a strong suspicion that part of it comes from a position of that where even if you're coming in and you're 17, 18, 19, something like that, I suspect that most people coming in on the Snoot and Wani gaming experience probably are enough of a developed person that they get where Anon's coming from, and since he doesn't have to have this grand personal journey of discovery, much like Anon has with Fang, the player can just kind of sit there and work with Fang to discover herself, and that's something that can click with that headspace because you're pretty much playing as Anon. Inko is a significantly less developed person, and that's innately going to kind of put him apart from a lot of people playing the games because it pretty much doesn't matter broadly how antisocial or lacking of friends or familial connections. Pretty much anybody that's ever going to touch these games is going to have more people in their corner in some capacity than Inco does. So it's hard to headspace somebody that's socially underdeveloped that also just has infinite dollar monies. So I'd say that's the big split between the two. And then as far as a small change.
What small
I mean-
change could have the most impact?
Yeah. Because obviously a big change would just be swap which games they're in, and we're seeing how that's been exploring. But as far as a small change goes, I think for Anon, literally all he would have to do is take Spears' advice a little sooner. Because that was one of the big things over the course of the game is he internalized Spears' advice of, everybody's fighting their own battles and stuff. And that became kind of an internal mantra, but he never really committed to the bit for the first half. He started to, but it never really took off until the halfway point, at which point he's torched multiple relationships, made Trish a inbound enemy, etc., etc. If he had committed to the bit a bit sooner, I don't think Trish would have doxed him, and that would have had a massive impact on the story for a relatively small change. And then for Inco, that was kind of a tricky one, because most of what he ends up doing tends to be relatively subtle in the first place.
Make him
I
gay
think-
and put him with Ben.
That would be a small change, really. I think if Inco had been a bit less egotistical early on, then that would not have led to a number of things that blow up in his face rather spectacularly. Because him being super juiced about how cool and big and stupendous his career is going to be for literally no bloody reason would kind of it would have made Olivia's initial reaction to him much more soft, because as the Rain conversation goes, egotistical twit. So it's part of the reason why she was so standoffish with him at the very beginning and all that jazz. And then he wouldn't have been as easily swept into Ben's pace with all the rumor mongering. And Liz was part of the problem on that too, which kind of created more standoff with Olivia early on. But if he had been a little more centered, which again, literally it's part of his journey, but if he had been a little less egotistical and a little more centered, grounded, then there would have been less early game friction, and things probably would have overall been smoother because you could have a confrontation with Ben earlier on, yada yada yada, instead of screaming at him in the hallway. So I'd say those would be some interesting, relatively small changes that would cause some pretty big shakeups.
Hell yeah. That was a good question. We got a lot out of that one.
I'm just thinking about when we scream at Ben in the hallway and how cathartic that was.
It was not the correct call, but dang, it felt good.
It felt really good.
It felt really good. No,
Yes.
if there was any place that Ben needed to get put in his place right proper, it's when he showed up at the Pains. Just kick him in the dick, Inco.
Yeah,
We've talked about that.
Absolute violation of boundaries. Shut up, Ben. Be quiet.
Obviously, I mean, like, if E3 for Punch Drunk, if that would ever be a thing, it's not going to go like that because it'll be completely different from my point of view. But if Dorian was in Inco's spot in E3, at that point, Ben would be getting the shit beaten out of him.
Yeah.
I
Picked up and thrown to a snowbank.
I think I said already that I think E3 Wani was my favorite. But
Right.
the one thing that kind of sucks about getting it the first time is it permanently altered how I viewed Ben.
Oh
After-
God! Like
After everything that
he's
happened in
not a
that,
good person.
yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just after everything that happened in that, when I got to E4, I was just like kind of crossing my arms, grumbling like, "Oh, Ben just gets to get forgiven, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
sure."
And it obviously it goes over it fast. That's definitely one of the places where like bonus chapters would fill in more
Mm-hmm.
because we jump from Ben gets his face caved in by his abusive girlfriend to we feel bad for Ben because that did kind of suck, and then we jump forward like 4 months and they've already patched up all their issues.
Everybody's holding hands.
Yeah, which it not unreasonable,
To be fair,
but
4 months is kind of a long time.
oh, absolutely, it's a very long time in school when you're around
Yeah.
people literally every single day.
Yeah.
But what it boils down to is he got his to a degree, and that kind of softened the blow. Haha, play on words. But in E3, it doesn't happen. He gets yelled at in the hallway once, and then he pretty much turns around and becomes the biggest douche. And he wasn't even that bad in E1 and E2, where he's just kind of a dick. And it's pseudo justified,
Yeah,
but
no,
in
in E3, he's
E3,
literally the crux of the reason what happens.
literally, it's just like I'm just gonna casually destroy this girl that I've been principally abusive to for like 4 years.
Literally go
Like-
to her place of residence and just start screaming at her
Olivia, you
outside her
have
house.
to come back. You're ruining your life.
And it the thing is it happens before that when she shows up, admittedly late, to the formal and suggests that he corral everybody back in. All he'd have to do is go, "That wouldn't be respectful to everybody else's time. I'm sorry,"
Oh,
and they would be
sorry.
like, "Dang, fair enough." But no, he had to have an opinion.
I wanted to fucking grab him.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, Ben, you said your piece, and I'm proud of you. And now I'm going to hit you a lot.
I'm going to grab you by your crest and fucking sling you into the sun,
Yeah.
you little fucking wretch.
Yeah, and part of where,
I love Ben, but Jesus Christ.
yeah, and part of it comes from you have to internalize that endings 1 through 3 are aspects of the character that just ultimately never express.
Mhm.
If you're gonna write them into fic or anything like that. But E4 is obviously canon, so that's how things go, and it's everybody at their best. But we were having a discussion in the Discord just the other day, and I was pointing out that it is not hard to make a case that Ben is right about as abusive as Mia is, just on a psychological basis, because he pretty much, out of spite, not malice, but spite, wrote the bit with the contest and effectively destroyed Olivia's life because he was angry at her that she didn't take the help that he wished he could, which is such a dick move.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it destroyed her life, he was just like, "Oh, whoops," and then just didn't talk to her for 3 years.
That always
Like-
fucking grinded my gears.
You sure, buddy? You okay there? And then in E3, he has the gall to take the high ground. It's like, oh no, we're not doing that, friend. That's not how this is going to play out. But in
Yeah.
fairness, you can only get E4 if you get the whole picture, at which point you can confront him more properly. So I get the mechanical basis for how you get there story-wise, but God, even more so than E1 and E2, Ben in E3 just needed to actually be put in his place.
100%.
So
Ass kicking. Look, I like Ben. I'm a Ben apologist. But E3 Ben, God, sometimes you just need to kick the shit out of somebody.
I mean, I in fixed E1 basically gave Ben a happy ending that wasn't how Inco or Olivia wanted it to be because he's still with Mia. But I gave that dude some proper bandwidth to air his emotions out, and he got a happy ending in the end. And I think that is perfectly valid. But that's E1 Ben. E3 Ben needs to get punched.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. But I've been doing things with Ben and Punch Drunk that I've been enjoying. So
You've been doing a couple things with Ben.
Shut the fuck up. You gonna bring that up too?
No, I'm just poking at you.
No, you want to? I got paid for it.
I'm just
you talk about it.
I mean, if you want to talk about it, go for it, dude. I was just poking fun at you.
Somebody paid me to write smut with Dorian and Ben. I don't care. I'll say it.
See how quickly he like fucking just bends over and is like, "Yes,
what
I will talk about
this."
I just poked you. I said, yeah, you have," and you're like, "Yeah, you gonna talk about it? You gonna talk about it? Here, I'm gonna go and talk about it."
Fucking rile me up, you little son of a bitch.
In fairness, he has made 100% more money on writing than I have.
I mean, I don't want to see it like that.
Yeah,
I am proud of it. It's good writing. It was wholesome, even if it was smut. Anyway, I'm moving on.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Probably for the best.
I don't know if this is a real question, but I'll ask it anyway because it's funny. Are ghosts real?
I'm gonna go with oh god dang it. I was gonna make a move for quoting Xavier Renegade Angel on the very meaning of belief bit, but it fell out of my head as soon as I went to say it. So
just say something just say something like this and esoteric and it will be fine.
Freaking great. So in real life, no. In stories, whenever we want them to be.
Fuck yeah, dude. I love Ghost.
And then, as far as video games go, we'll just assume ghosts are there at all times, even if you haven't seen them.
Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah.
Creepypasta.
Right. Every single game is, in fact, a haunted creepypasta waiting to happen.
For real. All right. Artiv, again, asks. I need to ask this one as well. Was I should have just died intentional, or did it slip past proofreading?
I have no context for where that is, so I'm just going to go with slipped past in proofreading.
I think that might have been art. Okay, that was on Vice's art, and I think we asked him about that, and I think he said it was how it was written in the story. So I don't know.
That feels plausible. Yeah. If it came from something I've written, then I'm gonna say that was just a miss on the
proofing.
Yeah.
To be fair, Vice
Sir, Your Honor, my client pleads whoopsie daisy.
Whoopsies. Yeah, no, Vice didn't say it was that's how it's written. He went, "That's how it's written. I've got the receipts right here. Do you want to see them?"
Yo, did he say it like that? Was he defensive about it?
I'm pretty sure he had it like, "I can show you right where it is."
I respect that because I like pulling the game scripts in conversations in the Snoot Club Discord when everybody has an opinion, and I'm like, I know exactly where that is. Yeah. Like it came up where somebody asked what Mr. Suki's first name was, and I said it was Jim. And they're like, "Isn't it Jin?" I'm like, "Nope." And then I pulled up a screen grab of the script where he introduced his first name. So, nope, totally get the perspective. I'm completely fine with that. If I biffed that bit of grammar, then I'll just have to go back and find it.
Yep. Anyway, we got one from Aaron Smith. Do you like grunge?
Grunge, like the musical genre?
Yes, I would presume.
I am, for the record, completely terrible with like picking what genre music is. So if it's what I'm thinking of, I would say yes. I'm pretty down for that. Not all of it, but it's definitely stuff that I listen to periodically.
You fucks with it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay. All right, let's see. We're gonna check. You're kind of light on the questions tonight. I guess we don't have that many people, but Let's see. I don't. Are we out of questions?
Oh, you got one
Am I
from
just stupid?
Yeah, you missed one. There's one from Schmoopy.
Swoopy, where?
You ever gonna delve into the more
Oh
depression
shit!
slash
Yeah.
misery side effects, or is this
Okay.
purely a hopium sort of deal?
I very much have a strong preference for hopium. So I like hope maxing, E4 maxing. I will say, and I thought it was funny because you mentioned that you had project devs on here like Roach, and everything I've seen from that dude is absolutely bloody stellar. I'm jazzed for the game. I have the plots and plans for doing a Snootverse fan VN myself.
Ooh.
So that one
World
is
announcement.
Yeah, well, I'd actually put that up on the that I was gonna start doing that as a thing on the Reddit a good while back before I started
World
getting
announcement.
before I started getting bullied into writing a whole bunch of other fix by people. But it's standing plan is wrap up Tori. I start working on Ghost of the Snoot, and then use that downtime to get people to help me cook some ideas for the fan VN, which is going to be called Worth It. And that will definitely be a broadly heavier experience. It's going to do the 4 endings thing. That's just kind of the standard, and it's a good way to explore the different outcomes and stuff like that. So there will be a E4 where everything goes very well and people are happy, but the overall themes are going to be pretty heavy, I would say. So
Absolutely. All right. You like to see it. I mean, there's one that was asked right after that one, but I think it got answered in chat, but I'll ask it anyway. And also because I know the answer to it anyway. Hey, Arlock, I noticed in Inco Noted, Inco gets speech therapy to help him talk better. Do you think eventually he would be able to talk normally? Hey, read
and
Love is
that,
Colorblind, baby.
yep, that in fact gets touched on in Love is Colorblind. So also just the fact that Vinny keeps dropping truth bombs for the best way to approach Inco's communication issues is so funny to me.
Hits him with that use text to speech, bozo, and he goes, "Huh?"
And everybody's just like,
Stop
"Oh my
being
god, it's
old,
so obvious."
Inco.
Yeah. God, maybe I am a poopy butt.
All right. Swiftwind says, "Oh, what about a fic with like the concept of E3 where Olivia finds closure late, but Inco finds out about the context with Olivia and Ben after the formal, maybe?"
Interesting.
Mm. Isn't it possible to learn the context but still get a different ending?
We'd have to consult the chart, but I know for a fact that you cannot get E4 without finding out the Ben story, but I think you can get E3 by even knowing the Ben story if you just don't get enough points to get to E4.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
That's what you did, isn't it?
Me?
Humo, yeah. Did you get the Ben story?
No, I missed the Ben story.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then I was never allowed to ever get it again because I missed it that one time.
Yeah, that's definitely something that can carry better in story. It is a common beef that, as well implemented as Cavemanon's point system is, there's still some points of esotericism where people don't work that way. The rooftop scene, obviously I'm not offended or bothered that I biffed my way into E3 by interrupting one choice early. But like realistically, that over the course of knowing Fang for 6 months, the whole thing with Nasser would have come up at least once. So it is a limitation of the format. I don't agree them for it happening like that. But that's definitely something where you can get it away. You have more flexibility in story beat execution for just like a fic or novelization versus something like a VN where you've got to keep the ball rolling and you can't really go back on a story beat to reapproach it.
Yeah.
So it's just a quirk of the format in my opinion, but it kind of. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's an interesting concept. What that is, like E3.5.
Yeah, exactly. In my personal opinion, it would be very, very dependent on when that comes out, because if it's at the point that Olivia basically quits school, you're pretty much locked into the canon E3 anyway.
It's just E3 except Inco actually beats the shit out of Ben.
I mean, hey, you know what? Maybe that's all that. You just do that in a one shot and feel really good about it. And maybe that's all you need. You know.
Huh.
I would say that if it came up earlier, where for as a hypothetical story concept to throw out there as a prompt, if anybody wants to tackle it, if you had it where you are locked into E3 and you have the game plan, and then say on the date, Olivia brings up Ben's backstory. So when they make the mad dash, they have their grand realization of who they are, what the passing of a legacy on from Yadakon is, etc., etc. Rush back, and then don't make it back in time, and then Ben opens his big whore mouth, and then Inkle could be like, yeah.
Yeah, you need to back the fuck up, buddy.
And that would completely change how that night shakes out for everybody.
Oh, for real? Olivia would be like,
My hero.
Yeah. And like because they leave very distraught with the formal because she doesn't get her time to shine. But if Inko just chews into Ben for being a hypocritical dick, then Olivia could easily come away from that like, he is a douche. Why would I care about his opinion? And then that actually would change quite a bit from the rest of the E3 ending.
And then he'd try to come back and do his bullshit again. And Olivia would just open her window and be like, "Shut the fuck up, Ben."
Or just wheels out the front door herself and then kicks him out. Or she actually starts going to school again because she realizes that Ben's opinion really isn't worth much. You could do actually quite a bit with that, I think.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
This is how it fucking happens. You get talking and you're like, wait a minute.
No, I can't. I got too much to shit. I got too much to write already. Oh.
It just goes in a folder in the Google Doc.
It goes in a recess in my brain and hope I don't forget about it. Maybe
Cracks
I do
my
hope I forget about it
fingers.
so I don't have to write it. Lord have mercy.
Right.
Well, let's see. Somebody asked, how did you just pronounce Eatikin?
Yadakon?
Eatikin?
Yadakon?
Latikin?
No.
Yeah.
Do not
Definitely
Latican.
not that one. that one's wrong.
We do not accept Trempt Latican in here.
Trump Latikin.
Yeah, in my head, the A's all sound the same, Japanese style. I'm not saying that's right. That's just how my brain reads it.
Somebody just said Otacon?
You know what? And now we're gonna get into the Metal Gear Solid Snoot crossfix, and then it's gonna get weird. So,
how happy would you be to see a mod based off Inco Noted and Love is Colorblind?
there was somebody in the Snoot Cord that was making some headway at turning Noted into a mod. I do not know how far along it is, but that was happening.
I know who you're talking about. I think.
Yeah.
Because they want to make they want to make Punch Drunk into a mod too.
Mm-hmm. I do not know the progress, but that was a thing that was happening.
Yeah, I need to finish my shit first.
Apparently, somebody had done the first 4 chapters of Spinning Her Wheels into a mod on the workshop recently, and that made a huge deal. Yep. Apparently, they did a whole bunch of custom CG art stuff for it and the whole 9 yards.
I need to look at that because I really like Spinning Her Wheels.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah. So that made big waves very quickly in the Wani chat, because even if it's only quote unquote the first 4 chapters, that's a huge effort. So
I'm looking at that right fucking now. Hold on a minute.
That's just apparently over in the workshop. So
I'm just looking at the workshop real quick. Don't mind me. Oh boy, there it is. Spinning Her Wheels.
Oh, you're giving him something to do later.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely gonna have to check this out later. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Extra Packy Station. I'm running out of fucking ammo here, Humo.
I know. Just kind of seeing how much you're scoring.
Xbox was doing really good until they had the whole can't share games thing, and then Packy Station kind of took over after that.
All right, then. There's your asked and answered. All right, we're at the 2-hour 40 mark. So, we've had that one question about the differences between the protagonists was a really good one. That thankfully took most of the chat time out.
Right.
Okay. Okay, fine. Well, okay, Jack Pass saving the day. Hey, Areloch. So Damien and Inco Noted hated Oneko from his actions, but realized he hated himself for blaming Onko's injury as a form of escape. If you had to write that again, would you change anything?
Um, that's a good question. I feel like that was a pretty plausible way for things to shake out, but I feel like Damien probably could have gotten a little more spotlight time broadly. Obviously, he's pretty impactful in the first chunk of the story, but then as things kind of moved on, much like much like the actual game, he just kind of stopped being important. And that I don't like. I like keeping story beats very tight and keeping the ball rolling, but I also try, and clearly don't always succeed, keeping the players in play. And Damien did get a little bit of a short end of the stick on that. Him coming back a little bit down the line as things have been picking up probably would have been a good idea, just to give him at least a bit more come back in and have had time to reflect on things as things changed. Because
love.
Yeah, because obviously at the time of, oh my god, my ex best friend nearly died horrifically, and I was mad about that. That's a really terrifying thought, is a state of mind. But then obviously over the next weeks, Inco has a huge turnaround, and Damien would be impacted by that, and that didn't get nearly as much reflection, partially because Randy kind of took over for being the point of contact for the Pains. But giving Damien a bit more personal time probably would have been a good idea.
Damn. That was a good ass answer. All right. Well, I mean, literally, the well is dry. I don't have no more questions, Humo. Anything from Twitch?
No, we just had the one on Twitch. So I think that means we've reached the natural conclusion of this.
It all worked out.
Alrighty.
As always, anybody who's been sticking around, hope you enjoyed the little creator spotlight we had here. Arlock, is there anything you want to say before we give a full sign off here?
What was that? What?
Oh, wait, just one more question from Karos. I asked the same thing with Jake and Punch Drunk, but Mr. Creamer, when are you going to read Love is Colorblind?
Wait until I finish everything that I'm reading currently.
There you go. All right.
No, I'm still baffled that this is even happening, so I don't really have anything to add. It's been fun, though.
You've been a treat.
That is very kind of you to say. I appreciate that.
We love everybody we have on here. Anybody who hasn't read it, go read Inco Noted. Go read Love is Colorblind. And go read Torigan.
If you do, feel free to poke me on the Discord. I love hearing feedback from people. Mm-hmm. By all means. Even if you read it and you decided that it's the absolute worst thing you've ever written, let me know.
Yeah, tell me.
Because I'd be curious why.
Tell me so I can find you and kill you.
Yeah. Okay, maybe don't tell Jake. But yeah, everybody, hope you had a good time watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day, night, evening. We'll be doing another creator spotlight next week. Haven't decided who specifically we're gonna have on, but you can look for what? What'd you say to me?
I said maybe do that.
Yeah, maybe I should do that. Maybe I will do that. Maybe you should step off my ass for a second here. God damn it!
All right, Mr. Break Taker.
Fuck you. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.